You give me vibes on vibes. Energy don't lie. How does it feel flying into a room tonight? It be us living a fun way. Watching my spine. I surrender every time. You make me feel so good inside. I just wanna watch you. Vibes on vibes. Energy don't lie. How does it feel flying into a room tonight? It be us living a fun way. Watching my spine. I surrender every time. You make me feel so good inside.
Go driving, roadsides they float by. So high in this moment, we both silent. Just in the dance floor, we were slow grinding. Got her on my rhythm and now we're soul rising. No one to answer to, like the phone vibrating when the show private. Get it? Using my hands more than a coal miner. Just said, Pablo, you know that you a dope rhymer. I won't lie, from the side I was profiling. Zoned out the whole time. Thinking about a peace of mind and where I roam just to go find it. Wherever I end up, it's a gold lining. You rock the sun's rest with the gold lining. And no time is so shine, it's so vibrant. I hope tonight I get her back home. I'm in heaven with this dope co-pilot.
You give me vibes on vibes. Energy don't lie.
No.
How does it feel flying to a room tonight? It be us living a fun way. Watching my spine. I surrender every time. Oh, you make me feel so good inside.
She's so fine, I'm feeling so righteous. Feel like I got both of the gold prizes. Slowly took over my body like a cold virus. Everything she touched gold, she's no Midas. Take you to the peak like we go hiking. Know what she like and I go buy it. Closing time. She a known rider. Down from the jump, she even post flyers. She there at every show when she co-signing. She believe in me, so we go higher. One day we gon' vacation on the coastline and help move my pen. She ain't a ghost rider. She my muse, that's why the music's so fire. Setting off alarms like a smoke siren. Peeling out of this bitch like the roll tires.
You give me vibes on vibes. Energy don't lie. How does it feel flying to a room tonight? It be us living a fun way. Watching my spine.
Me to the moon. Light work. So today we're here to talk about slender. Got a couple of little whiny little figs, a couple of fig newtons, a couple of queefs, some jamocalokes, some choice bags. It's just funny, man. Like, I don't know, there's been a lot of like serendipity lately and stuff that I've been watching and like stuff that's relevant to me and stuff. Like, it's just crazy. Like a lot of stuff, like synchronicities, you know. And so I'm gonna cover this. One of them is very recent, and one was like a little bit ago. But I want to cover both of them because they're like so similar and they're very relevant, and it's more like a grander point about we see this shit every day, bro. But if like, come on, take one look at these dudes and it's like you're using the same tactic, right, as a guy that looks like this guy. You're using tactics that this queef uses. Do you feel like a man? How do you feel like a man when you use the tactics of a gay pirate? A gay pirate? I mean, look at this fucking queef, bro. Come on. I don't even understand why people watch this shit. It's crazy to me. But it's just insane. Like, bro, the fact that I like to call it pettiness disguised as like more morality or righteousness, right? Because these people act like, oh, they're exposing these horrible people because they're so horrible, you know, like crimes against women and children and stuff. But it's like, it's not why they do it at all. It's always like groups of people. They're in these like fucking group texts and they're talking shit about someone. I literally was saying this last night. Like, bro, it's okay if you just don't like someone. You could even make a video on someone and just dunk on them and call them a clown. But these people, man, they're like, they sit there and whine about like, he said the R word. Oh my God, that's so rude. But then put like false allegations on someone. Like, what? Bro, just call him retarded. Like, the moral grandstanding is insane. It's like, bro, just call him a retarded queef. Like, what the fuck? Y'all whine about people like using slurs, the R word, because you want to be like, is there anything worse than like PC comedy, first of all? But it's like, you got to understand, as a creator, like a content creator, the biggest, like, the worst thing you could do is like lie to your audience and be disingenuous, disguised as like morality, or like you found some, like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't stand that shit, bro. It's like, people aren't stupid. They see through that immediately. And I'm just so glad that I think 2024 was the year of like slander. And it's just so good to see these people. They like tried to cancel people and it backfires on them so bad. They have to delete the videos and then they have to apologize. And we're covering this clown because I'm going to show you the video in a second. But basically, slandered this dude. Everyone got on him about it. He apologized and said, I'm going to learn from this. And then literally like 3 days later, he's made another video slandering someone else. It's crazy. It's like, you literally can't make this shit up. But all right, let's pull this chwaif up, because I mean, just look at like how hateable is this dude. First of all, he's like, I'm a straight edge and I was in a theater school, and motherfucker said, so really I am the perfect YouTuber because I have no skeletons. My life was boring. Like, actually, that makes you the worst possible commentary person to come up here and talk about shit like you know anything when you admittedly haven't lived any kind of life and you know nothing. This motherfucker, at one point, he starts whining because the dude made a joke about tits. He's like, oh my God, boob, how could you? Misogyny, you can't say boobs. It's crazy. Let's get into this clown. And mind you, I could care less about the dude he's slandering and all. Like, just envision empty face here. It doesn't matter if the person's a chun or not, because that's my point, is like, just call him a chun. You don't need to make shit up.
Welcome back, members of the audience, to just a delightful show. One of my favorites, you reap what you sow. And today...
So the context is, he just doesn't like this other creator, right? And it came out that the dude he's slandering used to edit videos for this other creator. And then it came out about this other dude that he used to edit the videos for, that he was like verbally abusive to his girlfriend. So everyone like turned on that kid and said, fuck you. But this dude's big crime is that he still follows this kid on Instagram. And the style of thumbnails he uses resemble this kid's, even though the person slandering him has the same kind of thumbnail. So it's literally like, don't even make sense. They're mad because this dude liked something on fucking social media. So they're trying to say, you defend women abuse or some bullshit.
Hey, there's a case that needs to be cracked by yours truly, Detective McClung.
Detective Chun.
Case. There are 3 types of people who have clicked on this video today. 1, the hell's going on? I either kind of don't or do know who this guy is, and I'm wondering what's going on. 2, those who are in defense of the man we are talking about. And 3, the man himself, because I know he clicked on this video. I know he did.
And number 4, people like me are here to roast you and watching the re-upload because you took it down. Number 4, that's me.
And to all of you, I have something very clear to say to you. This is a situation in the dark, a feud between multiple people that Jesse, aka Dankyjabo or Dankyjabo, has gotten dragged into because of his own idiotic decisions. I have spoken with Jesse, that is his first name, and through our brief interactions, being 2 people in the commentary YouTube sphere, he was actually quite sweet. But put yourself in my shoes for a second. Let's say you have
So I'm a gay pirate virgin who went to theater school. Okay.
a brief interaction with another creator, and they're nice to you. And then you will learn that they are not the person that they portray themselves as online. See, I am not a Jesse fan. I don't watch his content. I'm not a big fan of it. I actually personally, and we'll get to this later, do not like the way he talks about women specifically. But there is a time for everything, and now
What a war crime. What a war crime. Making jokes about women. Indefensible.
is the time for exposition. The accusations against Dankyjabo, aka Jesse, go as follows. Lying to your audience, using hateful, derogatory speech towards women, silencing those who are against you, and lying to...
Look, his fucking hair's blowing. Is a fan? Is a fan blowing his hair in the wind? Oh my god. This kid really thinks he's like the lead singer of The Darkness.
and manipulating your audience. Those who hold...
Wait a minute, he just... So number 1 and the first and last point are both lying to your audience. What the fuck? He said that twice.
who are against you, and lying to and manipulating your audience. Those who hold you as sanctity. Honestly, your audience is literally all you have as a YouTuber. That's it. That's all you have. And to lie to them, to manipulate them, to avoid the truth. Maybe
It's almost like he's talking to himself right here. I love it. I love when people talk about the lack of self-awareness and talking about lying to your audience, the worst thing you can do, as you literally try to gaslight your audience to cancel someone with false allegations.
not so much lie, but to silence the truth. It might as well be lying. Let's get something straight. Being wrong is no crime. There is nothing you can ever do to somebody who is just wrong. If they mess up, if they were lied to, you don't know. Okay, you cannot cancel somebody. And frankly, I'm not here to cancel somebody. I'm here to get the truth.
Oh, I love that. I love when people go, I'm not here to cancel. I'm just here to rally off all these horrible things I think this person did. And I know the culture and I know the type of audience I've cultivated. But I'm going to say, I'm not trying to cancel them. Like, bro, grow some balls. At least stand. That's what I don't like about these motherfuckers. They don't stand on anything. Like, just say, yeah. Get him the fuck off YouTube. He's a, like, because here's the thing, you know, in your heart of hearts, you don't actually believe that he defends the abuse of women. You're using it as like a trump card because you didn't like this dude for whatever reason. And now you feel like you finally got ammo to use. And you don't care what it is. It's clownery. Fucking clownery. Which, I mean, look at the outfit, bro. It looks like a fucking, looks like a waiter at Fuddruckers would wear this. Where's your pieces of flair? Where's your pieces of flair?
Truth. This video is a rock thrown into a lake that will send ripples out so that maybe we can actually find.
He was right about that. This video did make ripples, but just not the way he thought.
I think it's good we start with a man named I'm Alex. I released a video about it about 6 months ago, and that's a good time frame to think about. In the past,
Yeah. So this YouTuber, he's a piece of shit. He was verbally abusive to his girlfriends. You know, talk about the style of thumbnails. Look how similar they are because he used to edit. Why would you make the same style of thumbnail as an abuser of women? Like, such a dumbass point that doesn't even make sense because this dude makes the same kind of fucking YouTube thumbnails. Like, I'm sorry. Having similar thumbnails on YouTube just to another shitty person means literally nothing.
Every woman in Hollywood ever. But apparently, and still now, Jesse followed and still follows I'm Alex on.
Oh my god, hang him. Send him to the electric chair. He follows someone on Instagram. War crime.
On Instagram. This is important because one of Alice's friends decided to reach out to him and ask why, if it was an accident, if he meant to unfollow him, or if he just didn't know what was going on, which was unlikely and is still unlikely and is very impossible now. Instead of many options.
I can't get over his fucking hair blowing in the wind. Like, he's got a fan on him while he's talking about the seriousness of this. Like, bro, come on.
Handling this in stride, ignoring it, confirming that it was just a mistake. No, he responded Like so. Is there any reason you still follow and work for an abusive piece of shit? They're talking about Alex, and there's nobody else they could be talking about. I'm so sorry, mate. I'm not doing an accent. I'm not, you can't, no. I'm sorry, mate. I'll unfollow the annoying orange right now. So you defend abusers.
That was a terrible accent. This kid's, it's like, how are you a theater kid and you suck at performing?
I wasn't part of the show.
See how I can, like, come at you with stuff I don't like about you? I have to make shit up. It can just be, like, roasting you. But that's the thing. These people, they're above that. They're better than that. We don't do that. That's bad. That's mean. False allegation.
I don't know, but the response will baffle you. I would never defend or support the annoying orange. He gaslights all the fruit in the kitchen. How dare you accuse me of such a thing? Let's just, in good faith, which there is none here needed to show you what.
Oh, yeah. No such thing. No good faith needed. So he's admitting all these arguments are in bad faith. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit because he says something ridiculous.
Go check. Out of the small amount of people who watch my stream on average, talked about this. And that means that this is starting to spread. And Jesse is just ignoring it harder. So that's why I'm making the video. Because I'm done with allowing him to ignore something that he probably did. And that he's probably make stupid jokes mocking the gaslighting and abuse of a random woman who you might have known or might have not known.
Okay, listen to this nonsense.
Or
this will tell you the type of kid this is.
a woman. And then thinking about only men. Let's say there is somebody who does that. Makes you a whore? Huh? Who made that decision? Hey, who made that rule? Hey, who made that rule? Who made that like a normal thing that we all agree with? Oh, that's right. Nobody did. That's just a weird fucking thing to say. Or maybe this one about Lola Bunny. Just hold on. Just wait till the end of the clip. Just wait. Just give it a second.
Her design is interesting to look at and is animated very impressively in the original Space Jam, especially for the time. And whilst her character at its core is a simple love interest, at least she had a character. In the god-awful sequel, she looks like shit. And I'm not talking about her tits being smaller. I mean, her design as a whole is horrendously ugly and boring to look at.
Her what? Ah!
Oh my god, he said tits. He actually said, I'm not talking about her tits, but oh my god, virgin heard word boob. You can't say boob. What a herb.
Oh, God. Sorry, I had to, get that out. So you understand. Why must you feel as though you have to make these remarks? Okay, I don't understand why you feel you need to say this. Okay, and these are all, I think, pre him becoming a drama commentary.
Why do you feel the need? You have to make false allegations. See, people can just do it right back to you.
Can't have that. That's not good. But more recently, do you know what he said?
Mannerisms, he's so sassy. To all the girls watching this who like sassy men, if this doesn't get your beef curtains in a twist, then I don't know what will.
So I've been informed that phrase is a derogatory one rooted in racism and misogyny. I don't know if he knows that.
Wait, beef curtains. Beef curtains is racist? And this clown, he goes, I've been informed what the definition of beef curtains means, and it's actually misogynistic. What a fucking clown, bro. First of all, how the fuck is beef curtains racist? Second of all, you've never heard, like, I actually almost believe that. Like, look at you. But that's like, bro, hold on.
But the only way you would hear this phrase is apparently through pornography or adult media or anything sexualizing.
Oh, yeah, the only way you'd ever heard the term beef curtains is through porno. Bro, I heard that in like 3rd grade. We used to say beef curtains literally in fucking 3rd grade as a joke. Like, maybe, I don't know. Maybe, obviously this kid probably grew up differently. Just look at him in this era. But to say beef curtains, it's rooted in racism. Rooted in racism. And I had to be informed of what it meant because the only way you'd know is through porno. Like, shut the fuck up. You see why I hate these fucking people? It's like, it's so fucking disingenuous. And it's like, bro, if you just don't like someone, that's fine. But to try to cancel them with this fucking fake snobbery and moral grandstanding, like, I'm such a better person. I've never even heard the term beef curtains, which, by the way, is actually racist. Like, what? Stop it. You're a gay pirate. You're a fucking queef. You ever heard that? You ever heard queef? Because now you have, and I'm calling you one.
Women, because I personally haven't actually heard that terminology ever. Okay, I have never heard those words used to describe female genitalia, and apparently that was the point. What, dude? You can't. You are indirectly and directly showing us the kind of person you are. Okay,
yeah, and you are too with your corset.
So now you know everything there really is to know about this situation. It is not so black and white, but there is so much censorship going on. There is an unbelievable amount of it going on. People like Katiclyzm talked about it in their videos, specifically because she was somebody who was censored by him. But if you want to hear about that, definitely go watch the live one of his videos. He said to his audience to comment down below as everybody else was just following what he asked them to do, which is if you can't handle the stuff you cover in real life with some amount of class and nuance. See, because what you lack is nuance.
Yeah, you don't have a fan blowing your hair in your video to give you the nuance needed to discuss such important matters while I make stupid jokes myself. It's like, I hate motherfuckers get mad at your jokes, but then they joke too. They're just not good jokes because they try to be PC. And no, you said R word. You said beef curtain. Like, all right, enough of this, Jamoke. You get it. So this happened. Everyone roasted him because every point he tried to make against this dude didn't make any fucking sense. Clearly a hit piece, and people saw right through it. So, hold on, let's get to his forced ass apology, which is hilarious. Because then he winds up doing it again. He did it again. All right, maybe go to this one.
Here's how you're going to get a week's worth of work done in 2 days with AI. Everybody knows that feeling when you have 12 tasks
In the first place.
Anyway,
To everyone.
ideas.
Okay, let's pull this up. Hiya. Here's the forced apology. Took down the video. And it's so funny because at the end of that video, he's rambling on about how, you know, accountability and maybe if you can't handle it, and it's great. I love karmic retribution in real time.
Anyway, so this would end up with him getting shitted on so badly that he deleted his video on Dankyjabo, he deleted his stream, and he ended up apologizing like the idiot that he is. So I'd say first, let's go with Louis McClung's apology, because at least this guy, unlike Katie, had the decency of keeping it short. I mean, it's only like 3 minutes long.
I'm really sorry to Jesse, to my audience, to his, to whoever overlaps. I'm sorry for any harm I caused by spreading my ideas as fact.
Spreading my ideas as facts is absolutely insane, dude. How about you try? I am really sorry for being a lying sack of shit. I am such a big simp that I let myself get manipulated by a woman that had absolutely zero evidence of what she was trying to accuse.
Facts, bro. I mean, what the fuck, bro? I don't know what happening, but salute. I don't know what the hell. Oh, happening. So we're covering slanderers. I mean, just look at this kid. Basically, he slandered this dude. His own audience turned against him because they were like, what was that? He's a whiny little fig. He's a queef that dresses like a gay pirate, gets mad over the R word, but then puts false allegations on people. This is his forced apology.
Accuse someone of, and I did it all because I am retarded and I love getting clout. There, I fixed it for you, buddy.
I apologize to all my fans that I hurt by misplacing your trust. And I apologize to everyone who took my word as fact and then acted upon it and now feels bad about doing so. And it's not your fault. It's mine for insinuating any of it.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault that I lied to you, manipulated you to go try to cancel him. Even though I said I didn't want him canceled, but that's clearly was my intention.
I apologize to Dankyjabo.
Anyway, so where's my apology for ruining JoJo's bizarre adventure for me, huh?
Again, we had a very productive conversation, and I'm going to keep it private. I'm not going to show any receipts, considering the opposite is what got us here in the first place. For all of those who want to know more information, all I will say is that he gave me ample proof that this was misinformation, or at least blown out of proportion. It was never a problem, and it will never be a problem.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh, so you mean all you have to do is look into it or ask and find out before you spread it around like it was true, but you didn't care about that?
Following Alex on Instagram.
Also, I want it to be very clear. Katie did not come to me for me to make this video. I went to her to ask if she had any more evidence.
Let me be clear. I'm an even bigger simp than you first had thought. I've never heard the term beef curtains, and I was made aware it's actually racist.
Like YouTube and Twitter. And I went on my way to make my script and then to make my video.
Simp!
Brother, this guy has to be the biggest simp of all time. For real, even in the end when he's clearly...
You get it. He whined, he apologized, and he goes, I'm going to learn from this as if there's no tomorrow. And then guess what he did? I'll give you 3 guesses. What he did within 4 days of this. 2-1. Okay, and if you guessed he did it again, he slandered someone else with false allegations, ding, 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 you would be correct. Motherfuckers don't learn a goddamn thing, I guess. All right. Okay, where is it? It's Louis McChun. Let's go to his stupid ass new video, because now he's doing it again. And apparently says it doesn't matter if a girl's not underage, they can still be groomed.
But that's a whole other
problem with this new dude. So he's calling him a groomer, even though it came out that the girls he was trying to bang were of age, but he's still trying to make a thing out of it, apparently. And he's wearing armor. Look at the, I mean, come on. If that's not 3 points against them already, I don't know what is. Let's go back a little bit. Hold on. Where is he? He says he's mad about the R word. I think it's like 3 minutes.
Good.
At UMass Memorial Health.
Bruh. These ads.
All these people come together and to make it so that all of these people who do not speak the same language can a bunch of people were yelling. Nobody. Dream decided to do release a multi-page essay on Twitter defending himself when nobody asked him to.
Oh, so you're mad that people defend themselves, Mr. I spread false allegations, and you're mad when people defend themselves. What a cornball, bro. Look at that face too. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, did your last cancellation not work and you had to take down the video and said you never do it again and now you're doing it again?
And I messaged him privately, but he ignored me when I said this shouldn't ruin our friendship, man. I love you. Oh, I love you. Oh, I love you. He said I love you so many times and it made me very uncomfortable, considering two.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Where's the part I would give a fuck about? Okay, right here.
A lot of vulgar stuff without really holding back.
So this is where he gets into the thing of, God forbid, famous YouTubers message women in their audience, grown women of age, and try to get some poontang. That's the most awful thing you could do. It's a parasocial relationship. It's like, bro, can we stop with it? Like, it'd be different if they were like his employees, if he hired them and he worked above them. Just like now you can't even bang your fans. Like, since when did that happen? You can't even bang your own of age adult fans. Newsflash, that's why men have done anything since the beginning of time. It's the only reason they even try to get success and you know, like we try to build ourselves up in life because that is our intrinsic value. You wouldn't want to be with a dude if you didn't have that, if you weren't a fan. So now actually getting the benefits of being successful, you can't even reap the benefits anymore. This chick literally says, well, we sexted consensually. Okay, I don't see a problem with that.
Show you the clips now. Just a fair warning. She talks about a lot of vulgar stuff without really holding back, so I'm gonna have to bleep it out. But if it makes you uncomfortable, just skip to this timestamp. Okay.
No, you make me uncomfortable. You and your slandery weirdness.
Maybe February 10th is the time frame where we were saying. He sent me a picture of his penis, and he sent me a picture of him nutting. I clearly sent him
not the nutting video. Oh no, not the nutting
stuff as well. I informed him that I was coming to Orlando in August, and it was suggested that we meet up and have sex. I was either going to have him come to the resort I was at, or he was going to pick me up and bring him to his house. He told me that he has a chest full of sex toys that he was going to use on me. And to top it all off, he blocked me after seeing my tweet. You want evidence for that? Here it is.
Okay, and what? You said you were down to go meet up with him and bang him. And you're mad because he said he had sex toys? And it's like, he groomed me. Groomed. Give me a fucking break, bro. This motherfucker even says, nowhere in the definition of grooming does it say anything about age. Okay, so I can groom a fucking 38-year-old mother? Can be groomed? Like, we gotta stop, man. We gotta stop. People are fucking adults and they make decisions. We gotta stop, like, trying to vilify people because this dude was horny, and this girl that was down, she was DTF, and they sexted each other consensually. Nobody's fucking business now, but now it's the air all the receipts. Let's air the receipts. It's like, bro. And it's not that this dude doesn't know that she was like, oh, the guy doing the video thinks that she was underage. No, he knows. He knows she's an adult. He just doesn't care. Is the thing.
He blocked me. I'm not responding to bullshit comments. You believe me or you don't.
She made these videos directly following the leak of these photos. These were huge photos at the time. If these were real and in the context that people had claimed them to be, it would have been the end. The end for Dream. I don't think he would be living anywhere except for on private property behind iron bars. The biggest thing that really stood out to a lot of people in this specific instance was how much evidence there wasn't to suggest it was him. Until he admitted that it was him. But then he also provided—
What an awful person. What an awful person.
Important information that all of these women, all of these younger women, were 18 when he talked to them. Or if they weren't, he was only friendly.
Exactly, Caesar. That's exactly what it is. So let's cancel this dude because he was trying to get some poon. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro.
And not strange. And if you ask me, and this is not just because I'm a Dream hater professionally, right now I'm literally hating on Dream professionally. No. If you ask me, that doesn't clear his name. Even if they're 18, like I just said, doesn't mean you can't groom them into being into you, okay? Parasocial relationships are diabolical. They are a parasite on the world, okay? On the internet. Without the internet, parasocial relationships still existed, but the internet only made them worse. Sure.
I'll agree with everything you're saying right now, because when I saw the number of your audience, I said, how can this be? And the way you manipulate them into what to think, parasocial, and it's diabolical. But not in the way you're trying to say.
A bunch of weird women would fantasize over Napoleon showing up in their room late at night, but that's not as bad as 30 million people following somebody and then that person cherry picking which ones he talks to in this manner. You should turn up come quarantine, JK. Nah, you probably got the Rona. I'll see you after quarantine.
So now we're listening to a virgin that's never actually had to flirt with a woman, possible homosexual, possible asexual queef that has never had to sext. And it's like, okay, if you're going to sit here and say this is cringe, you should turn up come quarantine. Nah, you probably got the Rona. See you after quarantine. You can get it from me, BB. Like, is this slurp that Rona, yum Rona virus? Cringe? Absolutely. Cancelable? Fuck no.
Ha, you can get it from me, BB. Slurp that coronavirus. Go bet. Yum. The fuck?
That's actually kind of funny.
That's just you. Blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about it. It's just needless conversation. But apparently, the person who posted this said that it was just cringy, just so cringy and bad. He even sent pictures of his house. This is weird. If this—
Okay, so he's cringy. Like, we can send him to jail because he's cringe. Let's cancel him because he's cringy. Like, bro, I don't think Optimus Prime would be proud of it. I mean, for real, bro. Like, this dude is such a chowaif.
Modern day, he's cleared his name almost entirely of these grooming allegations with these specific people, claiming that, yes, those are messages with me, but they were 18, or they told me they were 18. He got a legal team involved. He had an entire 1-hour video up on his channel. I think he still does. They cleared his name almost entirely. He got a bunch of people involved.
So you're mad that he cleared his name of false allegations. So now you're here to put them back on him?
Ever interact with. I despise him. I want him up on the cross and tickled for the world to see. But this is—
Hey, yo, what? He said he wanted him on the cross and tickled. How's that not blasphemous? You choir. You probably sing in a choir with other men because you're a choir.
This is not the evidence of his blatant gastrointestinal discharge. No. Yes, if it was true, straight to loser hell, oh my god. But he proved it wrong. Oh, and that's a great thing, by the way. That's a very good thing. That means there weren't kids that were harmed by his actions. But he was still a cringe freak. Weirdo. So to finalize it for all of you who don't really get it yet, Dream didn't groom anybody, or at least we don't have any evidence of it, or he covered it all up. And I'm not saying that in bad faith.
What? You hear this shit? So at least he proved himself innocent. At least there's no evidence of it, or he got rid of all the evidence and he is guilty. Like, bro, come the fuck on. Like, people are so desperate to pin shit on people that you can't even just go, oh, okay, so far I guess there's no evidence. You know, he probably
That happens all the time. Okay?
probably deleted it.
I'm not putting on a freaking tinfoil hat like he likes to claim people do. No, it's on my shoulder. But literally, dude.
So that's the thing. All of these people that do this, it always comes out like they're the ones that do this shit. That's why they think like that. Bro, there's a part in the earlier video, if you rewind, or when I'm done, you can go back, watch the beginning. This part's, it's literally like he's talking to himself. It's insane. Everything he's saying is like more relevant to him than anyone else. They just turn on a camera. And literally his hair is blowing in the wind. So he's got a fan by the camera blowing his hair in the wind while he's fucking monologuing to himself.
As a content creator, don't talk to your fans like that. Man, come on. You literally have all of the power in the situation. Just don't talk.
Oh my fucking God, bro. I get so annoyed with these little fucking whiny fig Newtons that go, you have all the power. You can't even associate. You cannot even have a conversation with a fan because you have all the power. The fuck's wrong with having power? I want it all. Give me all the power.
Talk to your fans like that. If you're gonna have an interaction with your fan, make it quaint, quick, and
I am the Highlander. I take all the power.
Not personal, okay? Make it professional. Don't do that. All right, that's weird. Nicholas Cantu, aka
Yeah, so now because he couldn't nail him on that pause, then it just starts going into a bunch of random nonsense that it's like, bro, now you're just like nitpicking because you don't like him. And again, it's like, just call him a retarded fag. Like, so what? These people, I hate it. They act like they're above name calling, but then want to cancel people with false allegations. Like, which one's worse? Calling someone a retard or trying to slander them and ruin their career? Come on, fam. But I can't take this fig anymore. So we're going to get to another fig that's pretty much did the same thing. So the whole point is this dude slandered someone, had to take down the video, apologized, said he'd never do it again. 5 days later, doing it again. And okay, hold on. Before we leave that, let's go back and read some of the comments.
There, but that's a whole...
Because they're fucking hilarious. Let's read these comments. The Lewis McClung cycle. Slander someone with false allegations that he made up, apologizes and promises to not do it again, does it again a day later. Lewis McClung is the kind of guy to get called out for doing something terrible and then do the exact same thing again, not even a week later. I love it. And then if you click on, hold on, oh yeah, if these messages were exchanged with a minor, then it would be disturbing. I love that. If it was this, if you had raped a woman, that would be horrible. Like, no shit, dude. But that didn't happen. So now you're just making shit up. And if you click on all the replies, it's literally just telling this dude. One guy goes, "You're the reason theater kids get a bad rep." And then he commented, "Probably." And then someone else went, No. You are the joke. You're not in on the joke." And everyone's just telling him to give up, to stop making videos, to retire, to delete his channel. And it's great. If you want to have some fun, just scroll through these and read. It's so good. Bro still does not research, learn nothing. Remember when you live streamed for 3 hours because you were in the wrong for blackmailing someone with false allegations? Then at the end, once again, blackmailed him with false allegations? At least he patiently explained to how you were wrong and you were the one who deleted the evidence. Amazing. But now we're going to get on to fig number 2. Fig number 2. And what's his name? Well, fig number 2's name is In Praise of Satoms. But before I play out, there's a funny part in this. Real quick. It's loud.
Real winners and really secure. Lotto.com.
Want to walk.
So basically, these are all a couple of soy boys. You know, there's like a whole I didn't even know. There's like a whole community on YouTube. They call them bread tubers because it's like, no, you don't get it. It's ironic because in this old book, bread meant that wank, wank, wank. It's a fucking intellectual wank fest where they sit around and fucking pull each other's puds about how intellectual they are, and they pontificate. And this kid's entire channel, it's called In Praise of Shadows, which is a book about like Japan and like cultural appropriation in Japan or something. I don't know. I never read it, but this white gay beta clown soy boy named himself that, and his entire channel is doing movie reviews, but trying to explain to you why you actually don't get the message and you'll never understand because you're not me. You're not super left and gay, so you actually miss the message. The hills have eyes. Actually, the mutants are in the right because, see this guy with half a face? He's actually representative of Native Americans and Afro-Americans. So really, they were in the right to try to murder and eat babies, you understand? And you wouldn't understand. You could never possibly understand this art. You know, when someone calls movies work, they go, in these pieces of work, you'll never understand these works. You know they're a fagel.
Meaning that I had to walk down a dirt trail.
Like, especially he does horror. It's like most horror movies don't have some deeper meaning and message. It's just fun. It's just a slash fest, and it's fun. And try to act like, no, there's deeper meanings, and you don't watch. Don't you love when someone tells you you actually don't watch movies correctly? You watch movies the wrong way. Like, eat a dick, bro.
They had large rocks in it. In the February.
This is great.
How he
This is the real. By the way, this is not me anymore. This is the real kid's voice.
didn't want to walk.
Meaning that I had to walk down a dirt trail that had large rocks in it in the February cold to get back to their main building.
Poor
The
guy.
rocks hurt my feet when I walk, and the air hurts my face.
The rocks hurt my feet when I walk, and the air hurts my face. That's literally this kid in a nutshell. Pretentious. Actually, you didn't understand. And I'll tell you why you didn't understand this work, okay? Look at this kid. Just look at him. Just look at it. I mean, just look at it. I mean, would you look at this? Would you look at this? Okay, we're going to come back to this, because first I want to... Let's hear how much of a whiny little
Spacey's
pig
image
he is.
into a right-wing personality at a convention held.
So basically, this was the video. It had to be real. It's called Bad Conservative Horror Movies. Somehow made it about politics. I don't know how you can make horror movies about right and left. I have no fucking idea how you could do that. But he made a 3-hour and 20-minute video on it. So we're going to get into it. Oh, I love this. And then he whines about... He's like, last month, I only made $500 on my ad revenue.
Long after
I can't even afford this.
he arrived. So this is a brief reanalysis of Wes Craven, The Hills Have Eyes, and the internet's general response to some pretty basic things that I said about him and his work about 2 years ago. In the time since
About 2 years ago.
making that video, very often it is the case that when conservatives want to criticize me, they will go back to that and use it as a weapon, by twisting my words in very bad faith to make it look like I said something that I obviously did not intend if you had watched the video. Usually in an attempt to make me either look crazy, or cartoonish, or racist, or that I don't know what I'm talking about. And
You literally said the monsters in Hills Have Eyes were in the right, because they're actually African Americans, if you think about it. They're the Native Americans, and these white people came into their hills. You literally said... Black people equal deformed mutants, retard. Somehow pissed off everybody with one video. People on both sides hated you.
When Mark After Dark on Twitter said, IPOS himself has said some really racist shit towards Native First Nations people in his Hills Have Eyes video too. He's not one to talk.
And that's a fact. You are a racist piece of shit. And you're calling others, right? But hold on, where is it? Yeah. Is it? He starts reading hate comments, and it's great.
Rated. And I'm somewhat mixed on his filmography as a whole. Thematically, I think he's great, but on a basic filmmaking level, he was at times fairly weak. I was literally just talking about what Craven was trying to do in his script and how he saw the movie. That's all.
I was just telling you what Craven was doing and how he saw his own movie. How the fuck would you know?
Still, I started to receive comments like this. I can't imagine watching this film and coming away with the conclusion that the cannibals are secretly the good guys, and the biggest tragedy is that they didn't eat the people passing through. He stabs him in the heart not to kill him, but to remind him of his place. Or maybe it was just to kill the cannibal who attacked him and his family. I don't know. Just my interpretation.
Literally, that's the type of shit this kid goes into. His analysis is, actually, this horrific monster, when this person stabbed him, it was to remind him his place in society. You don't belong. You belong back on the hills, you mutant. It's like, or maybe he was defending his family from a butcher. You fucking lunatic weirdo.
It's edgy takes for the sake of engagement. Love this channel, but I don't think it was actually fine that these cannibals killed, raped, and ate people who just crashed their car in the wrong spot because capitalism is bad, and actually they are the good guys, is the take that I would have gone with. You can defend your home without eating people. You have an extremely warped moral compass. Class this, class that, blah blah blah. I like your videos, but the commie talk is distracting and arrogant.
Like, if you're doing an analysis on a horror movie, how do you turn it into capitalism and communism and racism and classism? It's like, shut the fuck up, bro. It's fucking deformed mutants cannibalizing and trying to eat people's baby because their car broke down. What the fuck?
We side with the vacationing family because they are a down-on-their-luck group, trying to get unstuck until they're hunted by opportunistic murderers who want to eat them.
Literally, they didn't like come into your it's not like, you know, people like living in the rainforest. They didn't come in. They're not taking over. They're driving through and they get like a flat tire. They're just trying to get unstuck and then leave. The fuck?
They're not inherently sympathetic because they're white or rich. They're sympathetic because they're the victims in the movie, not just the victims in your metatextual want for what you think the movie should be. The Carters win because good should triumph over evil. Jesus, Wes is spinning in his grave for an hour and 25 minutes. Woke Overthinking presents a woke critique of a B movie lacking any intellectual heft. If I had a nickel for every time a horror channel assumes something in a film is an allegory or a metaphor, I'd be rich.
Facts! The red curtain behind you is symbolic. And actually, what they're saying with this green blanket right here is that 17th century whatever the fuck, it's like, bro, what the fuck? Where did you? Maybe it's just a color. Maybe they didn't have a budget. Maybe the fucking background was just red. You ever think of that? Huh? Maybe they had a low budget and you're overthinking everything because you think you're smarter than everyone else that watches movies. And this isn't even the part that people were like really mad at him about. And this is just like, I want you to understand his personality and why he's so unlikable first.
By now. So tiring. I think this dude is gay or some. He can't go a video without mentioning disrespect towards them folks. Also, the hillbillies are cannibals. How are you gonna sympathize with them? Had to stop watching at 15 minutes. I think you're viewing the film through a modern woke lens. And
yeah, absolutely. Everything's what he's like, well, the cannibals, I could be perceived as a cannibal because I eat men's flesh as well. I like big fat glizzies. So gays are the new cannibal. Like, shut the fuck up.
Really stretching the themes to fit your personal bias. Really hard to take you seriously now. Just because you're a communist doesn't mean that every movie is about class struggle or social inequality. Holy cow, you make it sound like
that's a fact. Oh, you don't. I love when literally, I love it could be a children's drawing with crayon. And if you put it up in an art gallery, people will walk in, I really love what the artist is saying with this piece. And I love the minimalism about it. What he's saying here is that we're all scattered and all of our lives are out of balance. That's why there's color streams everywhere. And it seems to not make sense because that's our lives these days because we're distracted. We're distracted with everything. And to get back into harmony with, like, it was a children's drawing, dipshit. You know, nothing.
The cannibal rapists are the good guys. Gross, dude. Typical liberal garbage. Every time I think I like this channel, this guy spews some overthought lefty garbage that takes me right out of it. So what I have gathered from this video is people who commit tragedies such as mass shootings are justified because they have been wronged by society, and society should expect innocents to suffer because of that. Oof.
Do it. You won't. You won't.
The overinterpretation of capitalism bad by making the literal raped, murdered, and eaten victims into the bad guys of the movie was my cue.
I'll clip out that part where you said HITLER is my home slice.
To unsub. Sorry, bud, you lost me. You went way too off the mark. I've enjoyed several of your videos, but damn, you seem to be a bit lost in this one. Your stances just seem a bit warped. And why inject politics into a movie anatomy? Social justice? I was rolling my eyes throughout. I mean,
social justice.
Come on, man. LOL, I've watched a few other videos of his and didn't notice his political leanings, and here's the thing, I don't actually care what they are. It's just pretty silly to inject social justice into a review of The Hills Have Eyes, LOL. Yeah, I can't help but disagree with this video. This might be your worst yet.
I love the fake laugh, like it didn't destroy my soul when I read that. Like, dude, if you were doing a Dawn of the Dead analysis and you talked about how, like, how that was like relates to consumerism and stuff, like you could actually have a point there because that's what the fuck he was trying to do with the movie. The Hills Have Eyes. Stop it.
I despise your political analysis of this film. Calling police officers, people who put their lives on the line for a job, a symbol of oppression shows a huge bias on your end. People are
and it's the same thing the other kid did. I might have skipped that part in the video, but he's like, oh, when I say detective, you know, I know. He was talking about the other kid, and he's like, oh, he accuses me of policing language. It's like, when I think police, I think, get on the ground. Like, oh, okay. So they're both anti-police. It's like, these people are such clowns, and they're such wimps that, like, bro, if someone came up to you and mugged you or beat you, like, the first thing you do would be to because they're clearly not armed. They're clearly, like, against the Second Amendment, but also against police. So who's going to protect you little sissies? That's what I want to know. When something bad happens, who are you going to call? Nobody. You're fucked.
A lot more than their political affiliation, but I don't think you showcasing yours is very much appreciated by your audience. Would really appreciate it if you tried to be more impartial. 18 minutes in, and I had to stop because it really is an unwatchable video.
No, my pronouns are in and on. Because I'm insane and I'm online too much.
Incredibly sad because I enjoyed a lot of the In Defense of Nicolas Cage. It really feels like night and day in terms of quality of the essay. While everyone is free to think what they want, and I really appreciate and enjoyed some of your other videos, here you're basically justifying that people should be assaulted, raped, cannibalized, based on their socioeconomic status and, dare I say, skin color. Would you?
And it's always the fucking little sissy white people that are like, oh, white people bad. In my movie review, they deserve to die because they're white. And it's like, what? Look in the mirror lately, bro?
You have reacted the same way if the family was black or came from another racial background? Or is it only okay because the rich family was white? You are such a talented writer with an impressive ability.
I wouldn't go that far.
To digest a movie. But unfortunately, as so often these days, your politics tend to ruin some parts of your videos whenever you put your postmodern lens on. Sadly, you seem to be lost in a pretty bad...
Pretty bad. No, it's this fucking intellectual waxing or whatever the fuck they call it.
You seem to be in a pretty bad place right now. Your so-called anatomy is full of hate and cynicism. I hope you'll get better soon. Buddy, maybe...
It's funny, this is what people think I am in battle rap. This is what they think I am. And it's hilarious. Hilarious.
I hope you'll get better soon. Buddy, maybe leave out the half-baked race baiting and focus on the movie. Yeesh. I thought I would...
But if I didn't race bait, I wouldn't get the clicks and views and my $500 in ad revenues.
I was going to watch a movie retrospective, not be morally grandstanded at LMAO. This was honestly exhausting. You know, you do this long enough and you kind of develop this weird, broken, detached mental thing
What's that? Suck schlongs?
that I'm convinced that everyone who works long term on the internet has. And I know that that was a lot of hateful comments to read back to back to back, but I'm just trying to communicate what it is like having the never ending barrage of the internet saying bad things to you on a daily basis that are not founded in reality.
But yet, everything you write about everyone else's works of art is okay, even if you're incorrect, because that's your assumptions and opinions of what you took away. So how the fuck are you gonna be mad at someone else watching you, just like you watch a movie, and having their own thesis and analysis or breakdown? Even if it's so far off, they could say the ruffles on his jacket actually symbolize hate crimes in the 70s. Actually, his necklace right here symbolizes his hate of Christianity. His mustache right here symbolizes he's on Grinder. Like, stop it, bro.
What was really distressing to me, though, in this time is that I slowly started to watch it leave my comment section and just became an accepted idea about me outside on the internet at large. Someone on Reddit in this time said, I like In Praise of Shadows a decent bit for horror analysis, but his video on Hills Have Eyes is such a wild case of tunnel vision that even his normally receptive audience calls him out on it across the comment section.
Yeah, so maybe you think that's like maybe like a point to take a step back and look at it and go, yeah, maybe I was way the fuck off base here.
Virtuous cannibals are the real heroes, and we're tricked into rooting for the empty consumers trespassing on their land because they look like us. And it's just very weird, especially in how much he refuses to address the amount of sexual assault the cannibals perpetrate. I'm all for wild interpretations of the thematic meanings of art.
Yeah, it's crazy because when we're gonna get to in a second, you basically accuses someone of all kinds of weird shit, but you defend like rapists in this movie. It's insane.
Within reason. This goes well beyond reason. And you know, these things are half-truths. It removes all nuance regarding the use of metaphor in the film. And I know I'm including...
It removes all nuance in regards to the film. No, you removed the nuance when you try to make it something it wasn't. And then you're mad that people rightfully called you out on it. And now you're whining and acting like, I'm going to read hate comments for 20 minutes and fake laugh about it.
I said one thing, and then it got misconstrued as another that slowly eroded people's view in my writing and their trust in me, which has made the past 2 years a very dark time in my life. And on the notion of refusing to address something, that is something that gets said a lot about critics and YouTubers in general, that if something wasn't directly mentioned, then it must be obviously a refusal to mention it, or a massive oversight that must be pointed out by the commenter. Neither of which are true in this instance, or in most instances that assertion is ever made. You don't work on a project for 100 hours and then just accidentally forget to include something. I assure you that thought was put into the words that I was saying. I incorporated all forms of violence into one for that video because the metaphor of the movie is about aggression and revenge, whether that be sexual, outright physical, or even eating the victims. All of them to the Hill people are expressions of forms of revenge, one and the same. It literally makes no sense to talk about them as if they were 3 different things within that context, because as far as the movie is concerned, all of the violence falls under the same blanket of metaphorical rage. It would only take up time to not actually end up saying anything that I hadn't already said. And if I went down a list and addressed every single act of violence individually, that just would be pointless. And also, it isn't me saying that I think that these things are good in real life. Obviously. We are talking about fiction here. The Hills Have Eyes never happened. Wes Craven made that up. These are not real people. And I know I normally don't have to go that basic with what I'm saying, but in this instance, I guess it does have to be said. Because near weekly for over 2 years, at least one person has insinuated to me that I supposedly think people's flesh should literally be eaten off.
Okay, let's get to the next part. Yeah, you can hit that. You can hit that button. Go ahead. Oh, you want to play guitar? There's a guitar. You want? Oh.
I think his video found God.
So here's where we get to the baseless slender. I guess he trades in his fit for a Hawaiian shirt for this part. So I guess this dude's name's Wendigoon. He's mad at some other dude that makes horror movie reviews because because the guy makes more money than he does, so he's mad about it because, you know, eat the rich. I work really hard and I only make little amounts of money, and this guy's straight and makes money. I don't like him. So now he just slanders him.
Publicly constructed around himself in the past several years, and that, like many people who talk about being Christians as much as he does, has a dark past with deep ties to far-right extremism. On a base level, his work has never been of personal interest to me. We share a similar focus on topics that we like to write about, but our similarities basically end there. I have no need or desire to hear 5 hours of opinions on Blood Meridian from a 21-year-old millionaire who got famous around the age of 19. And I know that is probably the most boomer thing that I have ever said. Apologies for that. But I say that to argue that I really do think that there are some works that are really not intended to hit the right way until we are older. There are some works that fundamentally will not be understood by you if you are wealthy and have always been upper class your entire life. And this may all sound condescending, but that doesn't stop it from being somewhat true. I don't mean that to think that you shouldn't be able to say or publish whatever you like at any point in your life. You're obviously free to do so. And I also don't want it to be seen as if I'm talking down to young people, because I'm not. Politically, they are frequently the most with it, and their voices should be heard on issues that pertain to them. They are looked down upon too often in our culture. What I'm talking about here pertains to the very act of writing itself, and with that, perspective. And I don't know if you can actually really truly be a good cultural critic with a voice that has a definitive perspective, without several years of genuine, independent, lived experience away from the home that you were raised in. And in his case, he became exceptionally wealthy by the time that he was 19 or 20. And so if you leave the home and immediately become famous and rich without having to ever actually truly struggle, can you be considered to have ever actually had lived experience at all that would qualify you to give criticism on works of art about the experience of average and poor people? I would argue not. And if that is the case, why would your perspective matter?
You can't give any critiques if you're rich. If you make a certain amount of money, you can never understand horror. If you live in this place, and you didn't grow up gay like me, and you're not a snob, you could never possibly understand these works. Wow.
All that would qualify you to give criticism on works of art about the experience of average and poor people? I would argue not. And if that is the case, why would your perspective matter as a critic? Not to mention the fact that Wendigoon was raised in a very wealthy family, and with that comes from a wealthy perspective. He himself has inadvertently admitted that his family at one point had...
I like to stay on top of what's going on, you know, and when someone does like expose videos, it makes me laugh. And honestly, like when I see people like this, like it just makes me go, how is this a real human? And then I look and they got like 300,000 subs. I'm like, who watches this? Like, and I like doing the impressions for real. That's pretty much it. That's all.
Millions of dollars. When he said once on stream, "Would you believe me that when my dad was young, he used to be in an organized crime gang and is now a Sunday school teacher? Very wild life that guy's lived. He was in an organized crime gang that my grandfather ran. A lot of bad things went down. They got investigated by the FBI. My grandpa went to jail. My dad had to testify and tried to take up the business. The business fell apart, and he ended up losing millions of dollars to the state. Lost everything, found God, became a Christian, and is now both the best man and the best Christian I've ever met. But also, I'm not even here to criticize his body of work. I think his videos are very uninteresting. But ultimately, that is secondary to what makes him worth talking about. The first of which are the very strong beliefs that he seems to hold as important, that are in my opinion the antithesis of what horror should be about. There are many things that are red flags that we could talk.
Like if you just show me a picture of the two, like he comes off like the rich one, 100%. The other dude just seems like a regular guy. Like
talk about from the bizarre gun ownership, the flagrant use from my perspective of his religion as a shield from criticism, to the belief that he at one point followed many.
Oh, he uses his religion as a shield. You don't do that with your homosexuality. You're like, no one could ever criticize me because I prefer men.
Far-right accounts on Twitter, from Kyle Rittenhouse to Parler. The social media...
Back to, dude, that's these people's favorite thing to do. Like, they liked a tweet. They liked a tweet from this person. Therefore, ergo, monster. You liked a tweet. Ergo, You're horrible.
A website where the January 6th insurrection was in part planned. People said, oh, he only followed them. But that doesn't mean that he agrees with them. But there are screenshots of tweets that may have been deleted. They clearly, in my mind, show a support to Rittenhouse. Although, since I did not take the
Clearly, in my mind. Well, we saw how your analysis of hills have eyes. So forgive me if I don't trust in how your mind perceives things. Sorry if I don't believe in your analysis.
screenshots, they do have to be taken with a grain of salt. But in relation to everything else that we're going to talk about here, to
And I
me,
love how the whole time he keeps putting like the backwoods behind him to imply that like this guy is a backwoods guy. Like, okay, but didn't your whole hills that have eyes thing was talking about like the like literally this dude, he just flip-flops on whatever his opinion is at that second. Whatever he has to do to make you wrong. That's why I hate these people. They have no stance on anything. They pretend to be moral superior, and they go to their audience like, look, I'm a good person because I don't say the R word. I've never even heard the term beef curtains, and apparently someone has informed me that that's racist, and you would only know that from pornography. Like, give me a fucking break, dude. You suck schlongs on the daily. Stop acting like you're above us.
it seems to fall in line with his general beliefs. These have been widespread across the internet, and to my knowledge, I can find no examples of him directly saying that these are not real. So he may or may not have actually followed these accounts or supported them.
He may or may have not followed a hate group. May or may have not. Bro, where's the evidence? You know, like you want to make a hit piece on someone. And the other thing, what's crazy is this was called bad conservative horror movies. So we made this whole thing about horror movies. And then the last section is just about this YouTuber that he doesn't like. And he says this wild shit about him. And he goes, may or may not be true that he houses children locked to a radiator in his basement. May or may not be true.
But I do not believe that he has ever outright said that this did not happen, so take that as you will. We could talk about his past and supposedly being a founding member in an online conspiracy theory group that, according to him, snowballed out of control into being a white supremacist neo-Nazi organization called the Boogaloo Boys. His online username...
The Boogaloo Boys. I think Caesar is a card-carrying member of the Boogaloo Boys. And you won't believe it. In a minute, he criticizes this dude for wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Hello? You're wearing one too.
Name at the time was Boogaloo Boy, and he claims to be the first to have started using it, but that he left the group and became wendigoon after things started to get out of hand. And this is not a conspiracy theory in itself. Shockingly, he literally has said so in writing. As you'll see, he was just like, oh geez, sorry guys, about starting a violent hate group, guys. Sorry that people got killed. I totally didn't mean to do all that.
Got killed. So now he's trying to blame this kid for being in some like group chat because he liked the memes. And then once he realized it was starting to go left, he bowed out, like disassociated himself and was like, nah, I'm good. And he's mad at him for that. He even said, well, yeah, he pulled out. Pause. No wonder why he's mad at a dude pulling out. Oh, Fagel.
My bad. I'll do better next time. Also, it should be noted that the Boogaloo Boys are known for wearing Hawaiian shirts. And guess who else always has on a Hawaiian shirt?
The Boogaloo Boys are the most dangerous on the Western Hemisphere. The Boogaloo Boys are known to ride up in Hawaiian shirts and beat you down with 7-inch long pipes. The Boogaloo Boys use silencers on their Tech 9s. The Boogaloo Boys...
Despite the fact that he publicly totally does not...
The Boogaloo Boys will hold you down and tar and feather you. The Boogaloo Boys will drown you in a tar pit and remove your mustache with nair.
...in their beliefs, guys. I'm just saying that if at the very least I, in any way whatsoever, somehow accidentally, inadvertently, started a hate group, I wouldn't continue to still dress like them if it were me. It would make me look like I still believed in their cause, and that I just couldn't talk about it because people would publicly get mad at me. If I accidentally
So now wearing a Hawaiian shirt is a secret, silent, like dog whistle to other racists that like I'm gonna say it publicly and denounce you, but guess what, Boogaloo boys? I'm still with you. I'm still with you. That's why I'm rocking the give me, bro. A Hawaiian shirt equals I support attacks on minority. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro?
Started a hate terrorist organization, I wouldn't rebrand as a horror YouTuber the next year, and instead would try and fight that ideology as much as I could. And if I didn't do that, then it would probably be fair for people to assume that I still agreed with their actions. At one point, he posted on his subreddit and wrote, "Someone asked me about my old Boogaloo Boy persona, so I made my response and thought I'd share it to set the record straight. Again, I hate being political, but I wanted to clear this up. Love y'all, thanks." The statement that he included with this read, "Alright, so I'll go ahead and make my..."
The statement he included with this rant.
I was among the first to begin using...
So you can go on for 3.5 hours and it's not a rant? This dude defends himself from once the thing you said over and over and over. You were criticizing him for, and go, how come he won't come out and say he's against it? Finally makes a statement. He goes, this rant. These fucking people, bro. Like, I've never wanted to clear brush someone in all my life. He's like, he just makes you want to commit a hate crime. Jokes, YouTube. Jokes.
The term Boogaloo. Originally, it was a rendition of Che Guevara's, not that he was a good person by any means, code word for revolution, and I have always been a proponent of freedom and liberty. I believe in the divine rights of every human, and therefore, aspects of self-independence are important to me. So I began using the word in small settings, and then decided to make a meme page using the name as no one had yet done so.
This dude talking, he's the type of guy that would like go live with like you know, those like tribes that are out in the islands that they like, you know, they still just live out there on their own, and they like eat people like him. But yeah, he'd show up and be like, hey, yeah, I'm here to do a documentary film on your way of life, and like think that he's not gonna get eaten by them. Like the irony, the hills have eyes, and he would get eaten for being a fagel.
Were arrested a few years ago for planning the kidnapping of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmire.
Yeah, so now he just tries to tie him together because he liked memes in like a group chat with other people that he didn't associate with for years that went on to be like, so I guess if you've ever had a conversation with someone and then that person goes on to do shitty things, you're horrible now, I guess. Like YouTuber math. You liked the tweet, and this guy, he posted this, and actually that guy's second cousin actually went to school with the guy that shot up this school. Let's cancel him now.
Property damage and violence in the hopes that black people would be blamed for that. That was the Boogaloos. A great deal of their members were spotted in the Capitol during the January 6th.
I don't like the way he said black people. He thought black people would be blamed.
Insurrection. In 2020, they killed several police officers in a drive-by shooting in Oakland, hoping that black people would be blamed for.
But I thought you didn't care about. Oh, so you don't care about the actual death of police? You're fine with that. You're just mad that they wanted black people to be blamed.
The violence in an attempt to create racial tension.
And where do you even get that from? You just showed a headline. Where's the proof of what the fuck you're talking about? Or is that just your analysis? My analysis of what I think the case is. Don't worry, in praise of shadows. I'll give you 3 guesses. Guess what this kid's name is, and I'm being dead serious. Guess what this kid's name is. You'll probably be able to guess in like 3 guesses. I'm like dead ass.
The reason they use the word Boogaloo is in reference to a meme that says Civil War II Electric Boogaloo, obviously in reference to the 1984 film Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo. Okay, so let's take a closer look at some of the phrasing of his official statement. First off...
No, it's more snobby. It's more snobbery than that.
I have tried and failed.
But 4 letters. 4-letter name, snob.
To find any connection to the word Boogaloo to Che Guevara. In fact, when you Google Che Guevara Boogaloo, you just get things related to wendigoon. When you type in Che Guevara word for revolution, you get things related to wendigoon. Che Guevara died in
Oh, if you type this into YouTube, you'll get a related search on this guy. If I typed in awful homosexual movie reviews, would you come up?
1967, and the earliest example of the word boogaloo that I can find was in 1966, in relation to the musical style. So I would wager that that is more than likely a lie, to cover his actual intentions and sympathies that he held as a seemingly radicalized teenager. According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies, the word boogaloo began to appear in online forums related to hate.
According to this website no one's ever looked at or I've never even heard of until today. I looked it up on imright.com and found that the CSICSIISSCE said that the word boogaloo actually means to splooge inside of another man's anal cavity. And I boogaloo every day, boy.
Hate content on 4chan somewhere between 2010 and 2012, when, wendigoon would have been about 10.
Like, bro, you look like the boogaloo boy. Like, like if I saw him on the street with no definition, I just look at him and go, bro, what a boogaloo boy. That's what you are. You are a queef. You're a whiny little fig.
10 to 12 years old. Specifically, I have seen multiple times that it is believed to have been born on gun-related forums. I can find no evidence that within their organizational structure, that they have any allusion to their values starting or being connected to Che Guevara in any capacity. So claiming he was the first to start using it, or among the first, is not true, and is frankly a bizarre claim to make. By the time he would have made his Boogaloo Boy username...
Okay, so you want to... It's not true that he did this, but it is true that he's somehow to blame for anything that ever happened bad. Any bad thing happened, wendigoon fault.
The word would have already had a near decade of being entrenched into the deepest layers of alt-right internet.
Right, bro. When someone said Zane, I was like, oh my god, everything about him makes sense now. Everything. The fact he said, I had to take this a long walk. He was whining about going to this, like, horror convention. And he's like, they dropped us off a half a mile from the event. And there was no shuttles. So I had to walk in February weather on a rocky hill. That's why the kid was like, the rocks hurt my feet and the air hurts my face.
Extreme racism. He wants to simultaneously be seen as distant from the organization, but still dresses like them on a daily basis, and fully takes responsibility in claiming that he started their movement that was already in motion at least 7 or so years before his involvement, which to me just kind of seems like he enjoys taking the credit for that. As historically, he already had an out that he was in middle school when it truly actually began. And if he's lying about...
That's all it is. He's mad this other dude is rich, and also people... He's got way more subscribers in the same genre that this dude does, and he's just mad about it. And there's a whole section of this video where he's just whining about how little money he actually makes doing this. I only made like $500 last week.
About these things, it just makes me wonder, what else is he lying about? And the difficulty in seeing the lies and between the things that are true is always the point with these kinds of people, who say, for instance, that they do not believe in far-right hate, while doing something else at the same time, such as wearing a distinctly coded...
Doing something else at the same... Saying you're against hate groups, but doing a hypocritical act at the same time, like wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Hawaiian shirt that would be...
I mean, it's literally, like, bro, it's not even a joke. It's literally his argument. Is you wear Hawaiian shirt, you bad.
Good by the initiated. As Jared Thompson puts it, who works with the Transnational Threats Project that focuses on...
So anyone that wears a Hawaiian shirt is a piece of shit?
The evolution of digital terrorist networks.
Including you? Are you a Boogaloo boy now? Or you're... Oh, I got it. You're wearing it ironically. That's okay. You can Boogaloo boy out all day as long as you're an ironic Boogaloo boy.
Boogaloo memes and slang are often deployed in similar formats, and using similar language to more mainstream internet discourse, creating a challenge and parsing the difference.
Or no blazer, that type of yacht party. Ew! Shirtless, just with the tie part, the bow tie part.
Between complex inside jokes.
Carrying martinis. He'd be the drink girl on the boat.
and memes that are used as a tool of boogaloo extremism. Then Wendigoon would go on to say that the organization was corrupted by the left and the right equally, but I can find no evidence that the left ever tried to co-opt an
I can find no evidence. You haven't showed any evidence of any accusations against him. But when it comes to the left, there's no evidence.
Organization that actively desires a race war within America. Just on the surface, that makes no sense. And on top of this, people who are centrist, or on the left, do not use the phrasing Antifa members. The only people who say that are the ones that see Antifa as some sort of homogenous radical left-wing activist group, as opposed to a general term for anti-fascist movements. He is kind of telling on
Wow. Wow.
himself by saying Antifa members, as if they are a part of an organized political militia, like many alt-right groups are, such as the Boogaloos, and saying that there was harm and violence perpetrated on both sides.
He told on himself by saying Antifa member.
As the
I have Antifa members in my mouth every night. We call that a Tuesday.
kind of language that other fascists, like Trump, say to disorient people into not seeing far-right extremism for what it is. He makes the bizarre false claim that he invented the use of the word boogaloo as a for-the-people kind of thing, and he doesn't believe in what that group did with his idealization of anti-government ideals, and also wants it to be very clear that he is not a political person. But to my ears, this is all conservative doublespeak. And I hope that...
But I don't understand. In the same video that you were just reading all these comments and going, it's crazy how off people are on their opinions of me just because then to go on a 40-minute tirade about stuff you just assumed about a guy. Like, wow. Cognitive dissonance much there, Zane?
This is becoming obvious to you as well.
And you see, the ones in the background are an allegory, and they actually symbolize how. Fuck off.
In my opinion, there is a regular pattern of behavior there, from supporting Rittenhouse to having multiple ties to other far-right extremist figures, that I think a clear picture is painted that he does not mean this as a communist kind of thing, and seemingly more so means people as a very...
I gave my boo a galoo.
...select group. Wendigoon is very public...
You see that? He has a picture with guns. He has friends that like guns. Bad, bad man.
And seemingly more so means people as a very select group. Wendigoon is very publicly friends with Turkey Tom. They have been seen together on...
Wow, how awful. He's publicly friends with another person.
...multiple occasions. And I've seen online mentions that Tom was either at his wedding or at the very least was invited. Tom has been accused of using the N-word.
I've seen online he was either at his wedding or at the very least received an invitation. Wow. This person sent you a wedding invitation. Ergo, you bad.
...word multiple times in private conversations, including these screenshots of...
Oh, he said N-word. You're friends with... He's publicly friends with someone drops N-bombs. Well, I guess I'm a horrible person. Because I got one in my chat right now. He's publicly friends with a half-Cuban boy who likes to say.
...texts that are alleged to be real. And he's also been accused of saying that the upper tiers of his...
They are alleged to be real. You see how he called it conservative doublespeak? What do you call this? I call this Fagel mumbo jumbo. Where they just go, could have... It's not proven to be true or false. May possibly have been a possibility.
Screenshots of texts that are alleged to be real.
Alleged to be real.
And he's also been accused of saying that the upper tiers of his Patreon were intended for Jews with deep pockets. Wendigoon is publicly connected to the Internet Historian, and has even appeared in his videos. The Internet Historian publicly said that his birthday was April 20th. It is not. And has only said that as a joke because that is Hitler's birthday. Wendigoon is publicly friends with Donut Operator, and even
made a joke about Hitler.
Retweeted a photograph of the two of them hugging. Donut Operator is a gun-crazed, very far-right YouTuber.
By that logic, my birthday is the 24th of April, so... You're 4 days away from having the same birthday as Hitler. You're a bad person.
YouTuber with 4 million subscribers, whose career consists of him reviewing footage of police officers shooting
I'm just
and killing people.
I mean,
he was once a cop himself.
bro, it came up in the video. I'm just saying. That would be like someone coming at me for that. It's like, it don't even make sense.
Before he made more money making YouTube videos and retired. His content is very pro-state, pro-cop, pro-gun, and pro-death to people who don't share his beliefs propaganda. For example, one of his videos is titled Predator Takes Shotgun to the Face and features a picture of him smiling in the...
Oh my god. So let's recap here. His point to prove that other dude is evil is that he's somewhat kind of friends with this guy who made a video. This guy, I don't know if you ever watched this, he actually makes good videos. Donut operator. He's like an ex-cop that now he just makes videos. And the thing is, like, he's actually not even just like pro cop on every video. He goes case by case and saying like, oh, this cop fucked up here. He shouldn't have done that. Oh, he was in the right here to like. So this dude's whining that he said he has a video, Predator takes shotgun to the face, and he's smiling in the thumbnail. And it even says head removal. And we're supposed to feel bad about a pedophile getting shot in the face. Like, these are the type of people we're talking about. They're like, he said R word, he bad. He smiles over predators getting shot in the face. But then their accusations of someone else to say why he's bad is, well, he's friends with a guy who had a thumbnail. Wow.
Corner idled Predator to people who don't share his beliefs propaganda. For example, one of his videos is titled Predator Takes Shotgun to the Face and features a picture of him smiling in the corner of the thumbnail next to an image of a terrified man about to be executed by cops.
A terrified man about to be executed. You mean a pedophile getting what he deserved? He called this dude a terrified man about to be executed. And good.
With the text that reads head removal.
Head removal is hilarious, bro. How could you not laugh at head removal? Great.
Hi everyone, Donut here. We got a couple of shootings for you today. The main shooting just warms my heart.
We got a couple of shootings for you today. This guy rules. I mean, look, you're just mad that he's got that burly beard and his hair is way better than yours, Zane.
And you know, for someone who supposedly...
You look like Donut Operator's gay beta son. And that's why you're mad. You didn't get his genes, did ya? You just pumped one off in your mom, and you got all the feminine genes. And you can't even grow a beard.
is so very anti-government. Wendigoon seems very...
Look at this. He's actually hugging someone that was a former cop. And you know, cops are bad. This shouldn't be illegal.
very comfortable with a man who makes his living worshiping violence committed by the state. He's a man of no conviction, claiming to be very against the government and for the rights of the people.
You don't even want to know. We're making fun of queers. No, I'm just kidding. We're calling this dude a twaif because he's a clown and he's a slanderer. So we're making fun of him. That's about it.
At the same time,
it's all jokes. Everything's jokes. We love everybody over here, except for slanderers.
Giving a warm embrace to one of the biggest fascist bootlickers on the internet. And the only thing that one could reasonably gather from this picture of them hugging is that he too is a fascist bootlicker himself. He has collaborated with Nick Crowley, who constantly...
How could you ever possibly be friends with a cop? You're a fascist bootlicker. Wow.
Makes money through the most morbid and shameful
and it's funny because these are the people he was just whining about how him liking memes somehow means his like indirect involvement in a hate group that caused to violence. Yet you have a platform and you're sitting up here spewing that you shouldn't be friends with any cops. That's bootlicking fascism. So what, anyone in your audience that has family members or cops, or you don't think that type of rhetoric leads to people not liking cops and possibly like shooting them, but you're okay with that? That's what I like about these people. It's like violence against an actual predator is bad. Violence against a cop, well, Boo-hoo, choose another line of work. Like, fuck off, bro.
Content of showcasing the last minutes of people before they are suddenly and unexpectedly killed. Crowley is similar to Wendigoon, in that on the surface they seem fairly edgy, but clean enough. But then you notice that he follows less than 200 people on Twitter, and among them are the same circle with names like Wendigoon, Plagued Moth, Turkey Tom, Mr. Ballin, and Donut Operator. Wendigoon has collaborated with Plagued Moth, a completely shameful content creator who reviewed snuff films on his Patreon before it was taken down, and has been accused of showing genuine gore content to minors on Discord.
I mean, okay, yeah, I don't defend that, but what the fuck does you got so far removed from the first guy you were talking about? Now you're playing fucking 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. 6 degrees of separation. He actually liked a tweet from this guy who once went to the prom with this lady who's actually the sister of this guy who also did a YouTube video on this topic. Like, you're so far off path, bro.
And whose main YouTube channel consists of him reviewing censored videos of horrible acts of real-life violence and death. He is publicly friends with Shoe on Head, who is a
publicly friends with
conservative masquerading as a leftist, who has built a career off of lazy anti-woke content, complaining about SJWs.
Lazy anti-woke. So what's your content? Lazy woke content? Because you didn't research any. So basically, he had to apologize because everything he just set up here was all wrong. And then his defense, we'll get to it, is he goes, I'm sorry, I didn't really research. He goes, I'm not really online like that. That's his defense for slandering people and making this shit up is, well, I didn't really actually do research. He's like, I don't really like going on YouTube because I do it for my job, so I didn't really want to do it. Boo. Wah, wah, wah.
Says stuff like, Karl Marx.
I didn't want to actually research the allegations I was making on all these people.
Rising from the grave, finding out his movement has been taken over by fat, ugly, mentally ill losers. He is friends with Brandon Buckingham, a gun YouTuber who has been accused of threatening rape. He is friends with
a gun YouTuber who's been accused of threatening rape. A gun YouTuber who's been accused of threatening rape. How could you even say that sentence? He's publicly friends with a gun tuber who's accused of allegedly
with Brandon Buckingham, a gun YouTuber who has been accused of threatening rape. He is friends with Oompaville, a gun-obsessed content creator that has taken advantage of...
What's your problem with guns, bro?
Nakado Avocado's mental decline, for fame and for money. And on top of that, has made content with the human trafficker, Andrew Tate.
He took advantage of this fat sack of shit that does mukbangs. He took advantage of someone that takes advantage of his own health for clicks and views. How deplorable.
Friends with Mutahar, who argued against Andrew Tate being deplatformed from social media websites.
Oh no. Also, a friend of his said this person shouldn't be deplatformed. He didn't agree with the left's idea of cancellations. This is your arguments? Like...
and has recently showcased a great deal of transphobia in his most recent video.
Recently showed some transphobia.
He has publicly interacted in a friendly way with the account Rock Solid on...
Publicly interacted in a friendly way. This motherfucker says he had positive interactions. Like I said, so if I walk down the street and I hold the door for someone and they turn out to be a serial killer, could you not, like, categorize that as a positive interaction that I had with a fucking lunatic? Like,
in his most recent video. He has publicly interacted in a friendly way with the account Rock Solid on multiple occasions. And with just a quick look at their profile, I saw them liking anti-trans posts and neo-Nazi content. He interacts positively with Disclose.tv, a far-right propaganda website that uses hate speech, engages in Holocaust denialism, and platforms neo-Nazis. He has appeared in content with Mr. Gunzengear, whose Twitter bio reads, He platforms people I disagree with. Dedicated to restoring the civil rights of Americans. But despite that, he's tweeted negative...
Like, I don't even know any of these people he's talking about anymore. I thought you were talking about this other guy and your problem with him. And now your problem with him is that he's had positive interactions with all of these other people I don't like. Sounds like you're just butthurt you didn't get an invitation to the slap ass.
About trans people many times. He has interacted positively with Thumb, who has said, the traditional family should be encouraged and strengthened. I see little to no support from the government or big media.
What the actual fuck is wrong with this statement? The traditional family should be encouraged and strengthened. I see little to no support from it. You're telling me that that's provocative? That's like a crazy thing to say now? Is that people, families, we should try to hold together the tradition of family? That's bad. Family bad.
He has said anti-trans statements. He has called people degenerates, and has said that non-traditional sexual interactions are a disgusting, hedonistic lifestyle. That is the breakdown of the family unit.
Okay, there you go. Let's get to the real parts. Still agree with him.
Wendigoon is publicly friends with Brandon Herrera.
Or like, so fucking what, dude? People on the internet have a different opinion than you, and this person can't be friends with them? Maybe that's what these fucking clowns don't understand, is that you can be friends with someone who doesn't have the same beliefs as you. You know? Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to that? It's called America. Can't stand this shit. People like, I'm fucking cutting my family off because they don't believe in the same political shit I do. Like, give me a fucking break, bro.
Who has made jokes that implied that he was sympathetic with public shooters who killed leftists.
He's made jokes that have... Bro, if you have to start a sentence, he has made jokes. They're jokes. Get over it.
Brandon Herrera, who has made jokes that implied that he was sympathetic with public
Made jokes that have implied that he's sympathetic towards the school
shooters who killed leftists, and collaborated with Kyle Rittenhouse, who has posted images of himself with an MP40, which is a gun used by the Nazis.
Oh my god, now you can't even use a specific type of weapon? He made a video where he had an MP40. That's a specific Nazi gun. Only Nazis use MP40s. You can't possibly dislike the fact that it has low recoil and it's a fun gun to shoot. You have to be a Nazi if you have an MP40.
That he described as the original ghetto blaster. I've also seen people insinuate that Herrera was with Wendigoon.
He called it a ghetto blaster.
In the days of being part of the Boogaloo movement, but I cannot find substantial proof on if this is true.
Should have called it the Boogaloo blaster.
True or not. But I've seen several comments saying this, so online it is at least culturally believed to be true. He has appeared in gun-related content with Haley Luan, an
appeared in gun-related content.
Influencer whose content is based entirely around making the United States military appear fun and bizarrely sexually appealing. Which again, for someone who is supposedly anti-government, he sure does seem to have a lot of wealthy white friends.
Wait. So now being anti-government means you're not about guns? What the fuck are you talking about? The biggest anti-government people are like the militias that have the most guns. People that trust the government the least have the biggest arsenal. Fact.
Who actively work to uphold the values of the American empire. Or we could talk about the time that he stole art.
The original Boogaloo blaster.
Use in promotional material for his videos, and then blamed it on his editorial team instead of just taking the responsibility. Then, of course, there is his username. To the Algonquin people, the Wendigo is a negative spiritual symbol that is to be avoided and whose name is to never even be said out loud or written down. So I know there's a bit of a...
The name to never be spoken. He is the bad one.
Hypocrisy there on my part, but we kind of do have to say it for academic purposes, so apologies for that. Starting with Algernon Blackwood's horror short story called The Wendigo. People have for hundreds of years taken the creature and used it for their own means, including Wendigoon in his very name, which is something that indigenous people have been very critical with him now for years.
Oh my fucking god, dude. Don't you love when other people, just like these people, they stand up and go, R word bad. Saying retard is mean. And it's like, bro, hey, retard. Retards don't know they're retards. And they don't get offended at the word retard because they're retarded. So, again, you're speaking up. I am the voice for the native people that are mad about this name. Let me remind you, this fag's name is In Praise of Shadows. It's a book about like Japanese. It's about like people's, like, I think it's like their fate. It's somehow about like Japanese oppression. And he took the name for his YouTube. That's okay. You can name yourself after Japanese oppression because I understand. But you cannot name yourself Wendigoon, a plan Wendigo, which is a Native American. Wow.
This next thing that I'm trying to argue is not to discredit his feelings regarding to his own personal history. But what I will say is that Americans who are white or partially white in rural areas love to claim a percentage of native heritage for bizarre conservative reasons relating.
What? Motherfucker said people are white or that appear white in the backwoods actually like to claim that they're a little native for these weird conservative reasons.
Love to claim a percentage of native heritage for bizarre conservative reasons relating to, like, reverence for the land.
Right, when you see a boogaloo boy like this, that's when you get your ghetto blaster and you know when to goon. You know when to goon is when you see a boogaloo boy, you get your ghetto blaster.
And fascistic nostalgia for a time that never existed and stuff like that. He has attempted to deflect from criticism over the use of the name by saying that his grandfather was Native American and that he learned these things culturally through him. But I personally have to look at it from the hypothetical perspective, where, say I had a black or mixed grandfather in this situation.
I was gonna say friend. Let's say I had at least one black friend. Like, we know you don't.
And black people were telling me that I was doing something that was racist or offensive to them.
I don't like the way he says black people. Like, why do you say it like that? Like, I don't know. It just like rubs me the wrong way.
I would then listen to what they were saying instead of claiming that I had the right to do it because I had some melanin in me. Especially if I were more or less raised within a primarily white cultural area like the Appalachian Mountains are. And also on top of that, just, frequently associated myself with white supremacists.
Okay, so now everyone in the Appalachians is racist. Okay.
There are 26 million people in this region, and well over 80% of them are white, with the majority of the others being Latinos. And if I had no cultural connection around me to that non-white percentage of my history, then what really would give me the right to dictate whether or not what I was doing was appropriate? I really would have no ground to stand on. The other thing that I would add to this is that
you're right. You have no ground to stand on. You're just grandstanding.
Wendigoon and I are practically neighbors, and I know this area very well. Okay.
And is that why you're mad? We're practically neighbors, and he has yet to send me an invitation to the pool party. That rich motherfucker. I do hours of content that sucks, and people make fun of me. But this guy's rich, and he's yet to invite me to the pool party.
So I live in Asheville, North Carolina, and between that and the reservation, you have the community of Lake Junaluska, which isn't actually even a real town. You can walk across the whole thing in a matter of minutes. You got Waynesville, you have Maggie Valley, and a few other small drive-by communities. And beyond that is the Cherokee Reservation. Wendigoon lives somewhere just on the other side of the reservation. That is not me doxing him. He has said many times publicly that he lives in East Tennessee. And I'm not even...
That is not me doxing him. I've never heard him say where he lives. Now you're telling me.
Saying what town he lives in. According to the latest census, there are only 23 black people who live in Maggie Valley. There are 15 Native Americans despite it touching the reservation. Most of this area used to be sundown towns. Yeah. It is about as white as you could possibly get. Deep Appalachia is...
As white as you can possibly get. As white as you can put. Your name's Zane. You're wearing a Hawaiian shirt. You write pretentious movie essays. And you're gay.
Very white country. And for the most part, is exceptionally racist. Genuinely in this part of the country, you have to assume that any white person you meet is racist unless they show you otherwise.
You have to assume every white person you meet, including me, is racist until proven otherwise. Dude, if this dude saw a Wendigo, he'd be like, let me explain to you why you're actually culturally offensive, Wendigo. And he would get eaten alive.
Almost all of these little towns are well over 90% white. But if you were to drive through Maggie Valley, you would find antique stores selling busts of Native American braves, carved wooden eagles, vintage paintings of buffalo, super racist generalizations that idealize the idea of the noble, good kind of Native American. And then you
Racist generalizations, like calling all of Appalachia the whitest people you've ever seen, and they're racist until proven otherwise. These motherfuckers contradict themselves from one sentence to the next. It's insane. Like, it's like Caesar's like, why do you hate watch this stuff? Because it's fascinating to me that people like this exist, and they willingly not only get on camera and spout this shit so confidently. This motherfucker wrote this out. He wrote a script, filmed it, had an editor, and we're gonna get to that because he tries to use his editor as an excuse. Actually, it's crazy. But it's like, at no point did you think maybe this was a little fucking insane, and you went a little overboard with your movie critiques. And now somehow you're just calling all these people racist. Like, what the fuck? How is this a movie review?
Onto the reservation, and it's just run down and poor as shit except for the casino. He has said that the wendigoon name came from his cultural connection to native lore through his grandfather's side. But I can assure you that unless you were on the reservation itself, that actual native culture has no aspect in the general lives of the people around here, other than the racist trinkets that depict them. And as I said a moment ago, the Wendigo is Algonquin, who are nowhere close to the vicinity of—
The Wendigo is Algonquin. So you're not even cultural appropriating correctly. Like, who gives? It's Algonquin. Actually, the Wendigo is Algonquin. Like, bro, you are the most pretentious cuck I've ever seen. You're a soy boogaloo boy. Soy boogaloo boy.
Of the Cherokee, who are in the southern Appalachia region and throughout the lower sections of Middle America. The Algonquin people are Canadian and a little bit Northern American, to insinuate that he can use—
I love how the Algonquin people are actually, like, you didn't just learn that. Like, you didn't just look that up for the video. He says it like, this is common knowledge in my everyday life about Wendigos and Algonquins. Like, shut the fuck up, bro. You just looked that up.
Wendigo name by citing local cultural native customs is completely absurd to a person who lives in the same general vicinity as he does. It is obvious that he just thought Wendigos were cool and has come up with some seemingly—
And what the fuck is wrong with that? What the fuck is wrong with— hey, Wendigos are cool. I'm gonna name my YouTube channel Wendigoon. Why? That's your problem, fuckface. That's what people are getting you on about your movie reviews. Because you think everything has to— this horror movie made in the 70s has to have a deeper meaning. The Hills Have Eyes, the mutant monster cannibalists actually have to be representative of Native Americans. That's the only way this movie makes sense as a work. That's your problem, bro. Sometimes people just do shit because it sounds cool. Or they make a slasher because it looks cool and it's fun. Something you've never had in your life. Fun.
strange backstory lie that is easily proven to not be true, unless, you know, his grandfather is Algonquin and just moved to Tennessee. But if that were the case, I don't know why he wouldn't just come out and say that by now. And the reason why he doesn't is because it isn't true. There's a lot of
The Hills have leftist ideologies. That's what he should have called the movie review. It's fucking insane. The Hills have leftist ideologies, actually.
Bizarre religious-like mythologizing around his past that I particularly hate. Like it always being said that his interest in cryptids and horror began with oral folktales in Appalachia that are passed down and told to children. I assure you, as someone who lives near him and has for most of my life, this is total bullshit, and is some weird, false, cultural, imaginative idealization of the American South that is not actually true to the real Appalachia. We aren't sitting around at night talking about the goddamn Mothman and shit. I even came from a poor family, and he didn't. When I was a kid,
Oh, that explains it all right there. You hear the way he said that? I even came from a poor family, and he didn't. That's the most passion I've heard out of him so far. All this other shit, he was just like politically waxing nonsense, intellectual fucking snobbery and like wank circles about how much I know. The Algonquin people. But listen to this. This is the realest he got in this video.
Mothman and shit. I even came from a poor family, and he didn't. When I was
And he didn't. He actually, the accent even went away when he said that. The whole character disappeared. And he was just like, the motherfucker's rich and I was poor. Now we know why.
As a kid, I have seen people riding into towns on horseback. He admits to being raised by millionaires who got their money from crime. He just likes spooky stories, which is fine. So do I, obviously.
I've met motherfuckers like this though. That's what's crazy, bro. Hipster fucking hipster clowns like this in Boston. Like people like this exist, bro. It's crazy.
But to come up with some weird folksy reason as to why he became a folklore YouTuber that somehow culminated with the destiny of local oral tradition is the kind of language that is used by members of a cult of personality. They might as well claim that he was born on a fucking mountaintop. Nobody talks about it. But don't you think it is extremely weird and off-putting that all of his fans call him Dad? Isn't that really strange? What follows is...
His fans call him Dad? Isn't that strange? Yeah, and all your boyfriends call all your boyfriends Daddy, don't you? Don't you? Don't you, Zane? I'm not even making a joke. Your real name's Zane. Wow.
Is an exchange between two anonymous indigenous people about how they feel about him and his behaviors. I've been watching a...
Oh, okay. So now we're going to get into more lie. He said, I had a conversation between two anonymous indigenous people. Anonymous indigenous. So you mean made up. You mean made up then.
Anonymous indigenous people about how they feel about him and his behaviors. I've been watching a YouTuber...
No, he said earlier, he said one of his critiques of this guy is that he actually supports hate groups because he wears Hawaiian shirts. Hawaiian shirt bad, as I wear Hawaiian shirt.
named wendigoon for a long...
He wears them ironically.
Long time. And I noticed that his username always made me feel weird.
Oh, dude, stop it. I don't believe it. I don't fucking believe it. What indigenous person is sitting there going, I watch this guy's content all the time, but the name Wendigoon makes me feel weird. Shut the fuck up. You wrote this, Zane. You wrote this. And that's why you said it's anonymous. An anonymous indigenous. Because what? Because you're 12% homosexual?
For a long time. And I noticed that his username always made me
feel like, I'm 13% Alec Wankwin.
Feel weird. He often uses Wendigo imagery in his merch and made it a part of his brand. He says that his grandfather is Cherokee and taught him the legend, and I'm not going to make assumptions on if he is lying or not. But I feel really weird still.
Really weird. You said that already, Zane. You wrote that part in the script already, Zane. And so what? Even if his father wasn't Cherokee, who gives a single fuck about the name of his YouTube or if he sells merch with a fucking Wendigo on it? Who cares? They'll be like, okay, if I came out with a shirt that said Pickasso and there was a fucking moose on it, people are going to get offended over a fucking moose? No, but they get offended over a fictional fucking character, bro. Fictional. Y'all are insane.
It feels really disrespectful to me to use that name. I'm not sure if I'm being a baby about it or if there's something wrong here.
No, you are. You're being a baby. And this is Zane. This is Zane. You can tell this kid wrote this thinking, how would an indigenous person sound if they were reasonable, but yet still unreasonable?
He has also said some shit about cultural appropriation that put up some serious red flags for me. The Wendigo comes from the Algonquin.
I love how people just go like, they've said some stuff. Like what? Can you give an example?
I don't think Cherokees come from that group. Plus, he's presenting the white people concept of a Wendigo.
Oh, how dare he? He's presenting. And what are you presenting, Zane? You're presenting as 9 different genders.
You can call him out, but he has 3.5 million subs. His community will probably hunt you down before you ever get him to shut down. What follows is the comment that they were referring to about cultural appropriation, where a native person called out Wendigoon for his use of their spiritual symbol, to which he said to them, I'm actually going to make a video on this in order to make a direct response, but for...
Yeah, and mind you, again, this dude's name, In Praise of Shadows, comes from a fucking Asian book. So he can do it, but no one else can do it.
Whenever society makes advancements in art and literature,
I already know he'd make a video on me. Naming yourself Pickasso. That's cultural appropriation. It's the Spanish painters. F off.
and then another society gatekeeps others from interacting with it, it makes the creator seem inhuman and odd. The easiest way to create prejudice is to convince others that a group of people should not be interacted with. I have spoken to several natives who love the concept, yet only those who have no value in its existence say I shouldn't talk about it, inciting an indoctrinated superiority. Furthermore, when we stop talking about cultures, they die. This is especially applicable
Talk that shit.
To Native Americans, who use spoken word to pass down their stories. And if we do not continue to speak their stories, their culture dies before we do. Lastly, I was raised in Appalachia, and my entire life has been filled with stories of the mountains and creatures that lurk in the dark. My culture is as American as any, and I recognize the importance in keeping the fire alive. I in no way mean this to attack or to be direct, just a simple reply. If we develop the idea that we can't speak of certain people, then we're no better than those who silence them.
That's facts, bro. That's all facts.
Basically using the I have a few black friends excuse to tell
Didn't you do that earlier? Wait, you just started this segment with I have a couple anonymous indigenous friends. That's literally how you started. And now you're accusing him of using the I have a few black friends excuse that you just did. Project much, Zane? Project much?
Tell indigenous people to fuck off.
And button up that last button. That's driving me crazy.
And to not bother him, so that he can continue without criticism to make a lot of money by selling plushies of a monster that was invented by a white British man that is ultimately making fun of their culture, as well as plastic figurines, posters, shirts, and other merchandise that depicts wendigos. I don't know if he fully
I got moccasins on the ground doing field research. I got moccasins on the ground in Appalachia. They reported back it was racist.
Realizes the irony of being a rich and famous person taking a symbolic figure from a smaller native group of people that he is not connected to in any way. That is at least.
Are you half Japanese? No. So stop fiddling with your hair.
In part to them originally used as a metaphor for colonialism. The reason that this comment is publicly still available is because Wendigoon archived it by posting a screenshot of it early in his channel's life to his Reddit page, as a clarification of his official position.
Oh, so it's almost like he's not running from it, and he stands on it, unlike everything you've set up here so far.
Why he should be able to use the name, saying, "Hey everyone, so I hate getting political, but this keeps coming up. I'm showing this comment reply now, so my opinions can be made known going forward. I've also blocked out the original commenter, and please do not show hate if you see it on the video. Also, I'm at 50k. I love you all so much. Also, I have received comments from natives who advise me not to use the term."
I mean, for real, to me, this is funnier than like any comedy nowadays. Like, this is way funnier to me.
Wendigo, as it is a bad omen and is dangerous. That is entirely different from not talking about a group of people altogether. They genuinely believe the legend and want me to be safe. They're cool. Thumbs up emoji. It is
thumbs up emoji. You know, the thumbs up emoji actually is symbolism for hate speech. You're thumbs upping Hitler. If you ever put a thumbs up in a chat, you're actually a racist. Thumbs up is misogynistic because it's representative of how we keep our thumbs on the scale and how we oppress women and those of color. So a thumbs up is actually represents oppression. Shut the fuck up, bro.
It's become a more common thing for people to call him out on his beliefs, his behaviors, and at the continued use of the Wendigo in his name and the merchandise that he makes a lot of money off of. It became so much of a conversation that he even put out a statement trying to shut this down, saying, "Some rude and slanderous things have been said about my character, and I just want to clarify that I am not right-wing or bigoted or anything, besides thankful for my opportunity to make goofy YouTube. The only thing I believe in is loving God and my wife." Donut operator. You know, the ex-cop who makes death content. The Wendigoon shared a picture.
The ex-cop who makes death content. Because he showed a predator getting his head removed and smiled. A poor, helpless predator got executed.
picture of the two of them hugging not long after this can be found in the comments.
How dare he? How dare he hug a former police officer?
Of this post asking if Wendigoon wants him to start killing people who said that he was right-wing. I think that this is an all-time bad public statement.
Someone posted a funny meme. We don't believe in funny memes over here.
Statement that says absolutely nothing substantial. And that's the point. I quote tweeted this and said, not that I have a stake in this whatsoever, but this is such a non-statement that doesn't even address any of the issues that folks are criticizing him for. Someone using their religion as a shield in the same breath as claiming that they believe in nothing politically is a red flag. Oh, I'm just a goofy, wholesome boy. Please don't ask me why I follow less than 500 people and one of them was Kyle Rittenhouse. Don't ask me about all the guns.
Oh, okay. So now it's starting to make sense. These are all this dude's ramblings at this guy previous. So he had something, again, he had a hard on for this dude. Pause. And is mad that this guy has more money than him, I guess. So for some reason in his bad horror movie video, he takes 50 minutes trying to expose him for this motherfucker dead ass said he had a positive interaction with this YouTuber who's maybe possibly accused of alleging verbal accosting of no. Like, what the fuck?
Guns that I post pictures of. I promise I have no strong beliefs. Apolitical, really. Why are you slandering me?
A gun tuber who was alleged to say he was going to grape someone.
I really only care about this because if you have that large of a platform and make your money from being a public persona, then you are no longer fully a private person, and your political beliefs do in fact matter and are a fair topic of debate. You can't get mad if people call you unquestionable things that are said or done if you are making money off of them. And what resulted from some good faith criticism of his use of language was days upon days of people calling me a faggot, amongst other things, but that was their go-to word. And to be honest, if you're a public figure who is being criticized publicly, and the only people who come to your defense are Nazis, then that can only be read as two ways. Either that you're sympathetic to their views, or that you're perfectly fine making money from them, and are comfortable with that ideology being the backbone of your base. And this did go on for like at least a week.
So everyone that came to his defense of my nonsense is a Nazi. Well, how on God's green earth did you come to that conclusion? By their profile picture? The memes, I saw the memes that they liked, and I know they're a secret boogaloo boy. They all had Hawaiian shirts on and defend the use of the R word.
Where every single time I said anything, my mentions were just filled with the most vile far-right rhetoric from Wendigoon fans. And if anyone ever criticized me, and people's reaction to it was to immediately start using hate speech, I would shut that shit down so fast. I think that most decent.
I love this argument from other YouTubers that go, his audience did this and his audience did, and this guy's not controlling his audience. And I love how they act like this dude. Look at this guy. You think I would shut that shit down? My words carry so much weight that 300,000 people would go, I'm going to listen to you and not do what I feel like. Like, stop it, bro. No one can control every fucking loose cannon, no matter what you tell them not to do. If you act in a clownish manner, like you're doing right now, even him saying, oh, I get he's a clown, don't attack him. There's no way you could stop people from doing whatever the fuck they're gonna do.
Decent people who work online.
And acting as though you are any different or you would be able to control your audience is fucking pathetic. Like, it's sad because you don't believe that.
Do the exact same. And if they don't want to be seen as a big group of Nazis, then let's see how they react to this video's existence. Because I am certain they will be very level-headed about all of this. Right in the midst of this going on, a very funny thing happened, and that Wendigoon followed me on Twitter. I was not following him at the time. He never publicly told people to stop calling me a faggot. He never once reached out.
He never publicly told me to stop people calling me a fagel. Well, you're a fucking fagel with cream cheese, bro. What do you want?
Me privately, but he did follow me, which means
you're an everything fagel with cream cheese on the side.
In my eyes, that he 100% knew what was happening because I did tweet about it several times, and then followed me to let me know that he knew. And
he followed me to let me know that he knew, that I knew, that he knew, that I knew, that he... He wanted me to know that he knew that I knew his audience was calling me fag. Well, you are, so...
that he was watching and that he intended to do nothing to stop it. Why else would he follow me in that exact moment? He has never interacted with a single one of my posts. Not one like, not one comment. We are not friends. But he does follow me. He follows next to nobody on Twitter. What other motivation could he...
Okay, I love this. I love this. So literally, your critique of him for the last 30 minutes is that he's friends with this guy on YouTube. He follows this person with these ideologies. He follows this person who I don't like. And then you just go, he follows me on YouTube. Okay, ergo you bad because guy follows you. Like, you can't make this shit up. That's been your argument for 30 minutes. Is that who he follows online says that about his character, but he follows you. That's a fucking mic drop, bro.
Would he have had there to follow me in that specific moment, other than to be a method of quiet and deniable intimidation? What other...
Oh my god. It was a method of quiet intimidation. Undeniable intimidation.
way could that have been read from my perspective? If you think it was entirely coincidental, which he may argue it was, then I've got a sack of magic beans I'd like to sell to you. That was the moment that pushed me over the edge to make this video. There are other very public instances
that pushed me over the edge when he liked my profile, but wouldn't share my YouTube videos. That's really what it is. You're mad this guy didn't share your videos to his audience, but he liked a tweet or liked your profile. That was a secret act of intimidation.
from him of transphobia and homophobia. Like when he allegedly said, calling Christian, a man who mutilated his body with a box cutter because 4chan said he was a girl, holds a deep hatred for men and most women, decided to be a girl so that he could hook up with lesbians, and now abused his mom. She is disrespectful to and delegitimizes trans people. Like he, a very publicly straight married Christian cis man, somehow...
A very publicly straight married Christian cis man. Bro, I can't even say that all at once. A very publicly... a very publicly straight Christian cis man married. Jesus, how many fucking things do you cram in one sentence?
People. Like he, a very publicly straight married Christian cis man, somehow...
Jesus Christ, bro, that's like the most woke sentence I've ever heard.
Trans people. Like he, a very publicly straight married Christian cis man, somehow is the authority on what legitimizes a trans person's identity. He has tried to cover this up and has denied that it happened, but I think there's enough evidence to say that it most likely did. One user said at one point, he's been constantly...
But I love how these fagels, right, they go, a very publicly Christian married cis trans Catholic man. First of all, you said he, so you assumed his gender. But like, who are you to talk on him being religious, straight, married? Like, who are you to talk about the legitimacy of cis married Christian white men?
Misgendering her on Twitter despite being corrected numerous times. To which wendigoon said, show me one time I misgendered her on Twitter. Actually, please don't watch my content if you're going through my replies and monitoring followers, who may just be unaware of Christian's entire lore. Perhaps people just not knowing something doesn't mean that they're a transphobe. But if we go back and look at old screenshots from this time, you can see that this account is quote tweeting wendigoon.
And rest in peace, David Lynch. Rest in peace.
Wendigoon's transphobic tweet. But if you go to that account today, that post is now quote tweeting a deleted tweet, which to me shows that more than likely Wendigoon went mask off with his transphobia and then deleted the tweet sometime afterwards when he realized that people would be mad about it. But there's a very small chance that this is not true because I did not take the original screen.
I don't know, man. I'll never understand it. Like literally, bro.
So make a
our entire the human race would come to a halt if it wasn't for birthing persons. If it wasn't for the cis peoples.
And what you will. We could talk about the time that Nick Spheres did a video about the disturbing movie Iceberg, who is a great horror trans creator and I really
Great horror trans creator. Like, why do you have to throw that in? Why can't you just say, oh, this person's a great content creator, great horror content creator. This person's a great horror trans content creator. Like, what? Why do you have to throw that in? I don't understand. What the fuck does that have to do with how good their content is? Again, what the fuck does you being gay or trans have to do with the quality of your content? Nothing.
video about the disturbing movie Iceberg, who is a great horror trans creator, and I really hope that she's not mad at me for mentioning her here.
I really hope that I know I accused him of playing the I have a black friend card after I played the I have fake indigenous friends and I made up card, but I hope she's not mad at me for pulling the I have a trans friend at the end of the video, because how else can I politically wax about who is or isn't legitimized to talk about trans people if I couldn't throw in at the end that I have a trans friend? What a fucking hypocritical cornball. But okay, like, bro, I could do I could make fun of this kid all day, but so he had to apologize for that. Obviously, that was the biggest fucking hit piece anyone's ever seen in their life. Most of it didn't even make goddamn sense. So, you know, he got on about that. Oh, hold on. I think the Hills Have Eyes part is in this.
And just keep in mind, this wasn't specifically like a conservative horror convention. There wasn't like a big Trump 20.
Okay, hold on. Where's the part? Where's the Hills Have Eyes? Oh yeah, right here. This is the part where this is the Hills Have Eyes part. Ready?
Both sides in that one, like, but it's not really surprising why people didn't like it.
In a way, are they not justified for their actions? The Hill people can be representative of anything that you want them to be, really. They can be Native Americans, and the Hills themselves can be allegorical of them being forced back onto reservations. They can be Black Americans that have for hundreds of years been forced to live within a dehumanizing system.
This deformed monster-looking mongoloid. They could be allegorical for African Americans. This guy looks like a monster. Clearly, that's supposed to be a black person. Like, what the fuck?
That has balances in place that assure that they never get ahead. They can be anyone who has been a victim of hundreds of years of horrifically violent, white, wealthy, educated progress.
White, wealthy, educated progress.
Adding on to the general complaining and whining, Zane then talks about how he's been broke for the past few months.
There was a month last year where I only made $500 in ad revenue. I can't live off that.
I can't live off that. Get a job. I only made $500 in ad revenue. I can't live off that.
Month last year where I only made $500 in ad revenue. I can't live off that. The amount of times that I've almost had to stop making videos since then has been
the amount of times that I've almost hypothetically may have almost come to a spot where I almost had to stop making videos.
Almost monthly.
It was almost monthly how much I almost had to almost.
Barely been able to keep this afloat. I've paid my rent late most months for the past year. The cruel and untrue things that you say about another person do in fact have direct impacts on them and the way that people culturally see them.
And it's like,
wow, it's almost like you're speaking to yourself in the future about how the untrue things you say about them can actually have an effect on how much money they make. But I'm going to slander someone else for a fucking year.
And that, like many people who talk about being Christians as much as he does, has a dark past with deep ties to far-right extremism.
We'll get
far-right extremism. Yeah, okay. I don't want to hear an analysis of the blood meridian from someone who's wealthy and his parents are... All right, let's get to the apology part, because I couldn't find just the apology either. On this right here, clearing the air
video, I feel like should have been 5 minutes in length, but as with all of his content, he really can't help himself but ramble.
Oh, maybe I can find it. Was it IPOS? Let's see if I can find this video. Oh yeah, here we go. I want his actual apology. So to film this apology, because he got insanely roasted And basically what he was trying to do to the other guy, like get him canceled for all this nonsense, all came back to bite him because people don't fall for this shit anymore. They're not dumb. They can see right fucking through a hit piece that's all the information he said about all those YouTubers was like debunked immediately. So now he came back 6 months later out in the Appalachians or wherever. He's like, just to show, see, I am a person. I can walk on rocks. I can be outside. I am not allergic to air, as though some people may think.
I don't really know how to start this, so I guess I'm just gonna start talking, I guess. It's been a while. Hope you've been okay. I didn't want to really use a script for this video because anything that I say will be talked negatively about. And if I'd used a written response, I felt like,
oh wow, anything I do or say will be negatively talked about. Like how I did to those 37 people in my last video for no reason.
Like people would be like, oh, he's just, you know,
Wait, you say white people? Hold on.
Used a written response, I felt like people would be like, oh, he's just, you know, doing this for PR. You know, I didn't want it to feel like a statement that a politician would put out. I just wanted to be me talking to you, human to human. So apologies if this is a bit rambly. This is a little different for me. I'm just gonna talk. And I guess I'll start with kind of a big piece of criticism was that like I just sort of disappeared. And I did that kind of for two reasons. One was that, of course, like anything that I said wasn't going to help the situation that was happening. And so I just left. And I didn't want to really talk about it. And this is the last time I'm ever going to publicly.
I didn't really want to talk about it. You know, all those accusations I threw out on people, it came back to bite me. I didn't really I had no problem talking about it for 3 fucking hours before. I have no problem talking about false allegations. But when I'm in the wrong, I didn't really want to talk about the accountability that I have to hold.
Talk about the situation again. I just also felt that people would be kind of like annoyed if I like tried to like come back and start making things again and just pretend like nothing ever happened. I didn't want to do that. Also, like,
no, you did. You 1000% wanted to come back, make videos, and pretend like it never happened, but you knew you couldn't.
I don't really know how to make this video because the history of like, you know, YouTube apology videos is like a format that is consistently made fun of for good reason. And I'm not anti-apology at all. I'm not. It's just that like usually like someone like,
so you're not anti-rape apologist? So you're not anti-apologist? Interesting.
Who works on the internet will mess up and then like immediately will put out like an apology video and be like, you know, I'm not that person anymore. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I've changed, guys. And it's complete bullshit. You know, everybody knows that it's bullshit because you're like, what do you mean you're not that person anymore? You just said that thing 2 days ago. Of course you're that person. And so like with my situation, I said I was going to be gone for a month. Clearly I needed a break. I wasn't doing very well. And I ended up taking more than that because I wasn't ready to come back. And I really wanted to come back with something that showed what I could do.
Like, I had to take a mental health month.
Showed that I would be willing to listen to criticism of me because I always am. I always want to do better. And so I hope that the John Waters video has kind of shown that. This was kind of a wake-up call moment for me. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. And I guess one of the main things I wanted to talk about here is that, like, you know, when you do anything in a very public way that it isn't received particularly well, people are going to do two things, which is like ascribe a motive for why you did that thing and also wildly speculate about yourself to put attributes onto you.
Is that not exactly what the fuck you did to this guy? Wildly assume shit about it, like assume his motives for why he wears Hawaiian shirts,
you know, that often aren't true. And you know, I probably definitely am guilty of doing that in the past, even in the bad conservative horror movie video. So I kind of wanted to talk more about me here than other people, which is something I don't really do all that much.
Oh really? Narcissist wants to talk about me during apology video and then says I don't really talk about myself as much as I'd like. Yeah, we know.
One of the biggest things that has kind of always surprised me my whole like career on YouTube is people thinking that I hate Christians. And I don't at all. I wonder
why they would think that.
hate religious people at all. I myself am a Methodist, and I have gone to annual conference.
Yeah, and your method is slandering and being a homosexual.
With the Methodists for the past, I think, 4 years because I have an invested interest in how the church is dealing with LGBT.
It's vested interests, not invested, unless you actually have money in the church.
Members, which is an ongoing thing with the Methodists. I don't hate Christians at all. I can be very critical of Christians. I don't like evangelicals. I don't like proselytizers. And usually if I'm being critical of religious people, it's because they're using the religion as part of their online brand. And if you're like mixing money or your business with your religion, that is almost certainly like a perversion of whatever your religion is.
Okay, but did you not, how is that any different than this horror trans creator? I'm a horror gay creator. Like, how is that any different? I don't understand. Forcing your sexuality into the brand of the content. How is that any different?
You know, I don't want to get into these things. I'm not trying to like double down here with what I'm saying in this. I'm not trying to like critique people. I'm just trying to talk about where I come from with things, because I'm realizing like a big issue with my writing is saying something and just assuming that people understand what I mean instead of
tolerating anti-homosexual. Nah, I mean, too many suckers be tolerating homosexualism, especially people like this that go around slandering people.
Actually trying to explain my point more, because I cover a lot of points in videos, and sometimes I'm guilty of hitting a point really quick and then moving on, especially because I kind of am also guilty of making a lot of my work assuming wrongly that people are familiar with.
I would never say that an entire country is determined or dictated by one politician that's in office. That's ridiculous. That's like saying it's Obama's America, it's Biden's America. Like, stop it. People are people. That's it.
With my past and my like work as well. I kind of make every video, or did make every video, as a sequel to all of my previous work.
And let me tell you something, people were queer bashing before Trump was ever even a fucking public figure.
That kind of came up twice with the Bad Conservative Horror Movie video. One was an offhanded mention to Lovecraft that I talked about, where people were like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, and you know, like,
I am a real American. America, fuck yeah. Where homosexuals can slander other people. America, fuck yeah. And people defend them even though they're in the wrong.
Because I had made like a 2-hour video about Lovecraft in the past, I felt like I could just make an offhanded, like, quick 1-sentence reference to Lovecraft and it not be a big deal, and not explain it. You know what I mean? Because I just assumed people will get what I'm talking about because of that video. And another big one that came with is when I talked about race in Appalachia. A lot of people weirdly thought that I was Northern or not from Appalachia. People were saying like, you know, Appalachia sends its regards and shit like that. But like, you know, I've lived in the Appalachian Mountains basically my whole life. And I made like a 2+ hour video explaining my complicated views of the American South with the Joanne Denton video, where I talked about how like I love North Carolina and how I've lived here my entire life, and how much of an impact this place has had on me. But also to pretend that the South doesn't have a major problem with racism is like kind of insane, you know. And I talk in that video about like the heavy Klan presence in areas of North Carolina. I talk about casual social racism and stuff like that. So like, I felt like I was okay to make a 1-sentence like throwaway thing because I'd already explained.
I felt like I was okay to call out all of Appalachia racist. Like, no. I'm sorry. You can't just call a whole place a thing. You just can't do that, buddy.
My position on that in the past. I don't hate Appalachians. I live here.
Dude,
and I have chosen to live here
Bro, he
for a
looks
long
like Marlo.
time now. And you know, the reaction to that in particular I think was really strong. And you know, there was also a lot of criticism saying that like I didn't handle the situation gracefully.
Gracefully? Bro. No shit.
Which I didn't. But also I'd like to see anybody that would. You know, things got really intense there. My entire town a few weeks ago was basically destroyed from the hurricane. And like there were like tweets still 5 months later.
Oh no, I have seemed to have lost a hip subscriber with my jokes. Bye, faggots.
Saying, well, at least in Praise of Shadows probably died in that. You know, things were really, really hot and uncomfortable. You didn't see the best side of me in that. And that's all that I can say is it was a bad day for me. It was a bad period for me. You know, I was kind of made into this like cartoon character where I am impossible.
I mean, bro, people can say whatever they want. Like, again, I'm not a fan of censorship as long as it's like relevant. People can say whatever the fuck they want. You can disagree with me all day, even. That's fine. You can even tell me how I'm a bigot because of jokes. You know, that's fine with me. Everyone's got a right to an opinion.
Possible to get along with people who are on the right, which is actually,
especially if it's funny,
not true at all. I know this sounds like made up, but the guy that I hired to work on the set with me for the John Waters video was wearing a Make America Great Again hat. Like,
oh my gosh, yeah, this is the part I want to get through. So basically he said, what you don't understand is even the editor I hired on my last video was wearing a MAGA hat. Ergo, I don't hate all Trump supporters. I hired one. Wow, my editor was actually wearing a MAGA hat. Is that not that I have a black friend? He did it with indigenous people. He did it with trans. And now he's doing it with Trump supporters. I hired a Trump supporting editor. I have indigenous friends. I have a friend, a trans, that makes horror content. And then you accuse the other guy of doing that?
The entire time we were working. But he does a good job. And that's just the realities of living in the American South. I am not this insane person who like it's impossible to get along with.
No,
so,
you're definitely,
yeah. And
you're absolutely impossible to get along with. Who the fuck would want to hang out with this dude? Who's whining earlier about, I walked on a rock and it hurt my feet, and I had to walk half a mile in the cold.
The Appalachian thing came an added commentary that I was kind of surprised about, where a lot of people said that I hate poor people or I look down on people, that I like hate lower income individuals, which like I'm a lower income individual in Appalachia. Like I don't.
No, you're cosplaying as that.
Hate anybody like that. I don't hate anybody at all. I think that everybody should have their needs met no matter what they believe. You know, as far as like reviews are concerned, I am.
Have their needs met sounds crazy. He's like, I don't hate any. I want people of every belief, color, race, and creed to get off. I want everybody to be busting nuts. Everyone should be getting their needs met, even if they need sex workers.
I'm gay, and with that comes like a certain level of snobbery. With,
Oh
like,
my
the
god!
arts-
He said, "I'm gay," and with that comes a level of snobbery. Okay, talk about generalizing much.
Are concerned, I am gay, and with that comes like a certain level of snobbery with like the arts and stuff like that. But because I like have high expectations of works of art does not mean that I hate poor people. Okay, I don't think that certain people should be in power. I don't think that certain people should have social power. And in that, I kind of want to get into the conservative video itself. Okay, so in the like hating poor people thing, apparently I also don't like normal guys. And like the thing that's kind of funny about that is that like kind of this whole situation came about because I was a normal guy. So like I'm notoriously difficult to get a hold of. And that's because I'm not really online at all. I don't tweet. I genuinely don't spend much time on Twitter at all. I don't have any other social media. Before this, I was getting on Discord like once every like 6 months. For the most part, I'm not friends with other online content creators. I probably watch in between 3 and 5 YouTube videos a month. And that is not like a dig at other YouTubers. That's not saying that they don't make excellent work, because there's a lot of great work on YouTube. But like it comes to like this thing where like back when I used to make comics, I would draw comics all day. And the last thing I'd want to do when I finished drawing for 10 hours would be to like pick up comics and read them before I went to bed. You know, like I didn't want my entire existence to be comics. I wanted inspiration from everywhere in my life. And so I used to watch a lot of YouTube, like back before I was a YouTuber. But then I started making videos, and you know, I make videos all day long, and I don't want to like turn around and then like watch more YouTube videos. So like when I say I don't watch like a lot of YouTube, it's not to put down other creators, but just to try and to explain how the situation happened, because the why is kind of, you know, self-apparent. And so when you're not an online person, but you feel compelled to write a piece about online culture, looking at it from a distance, trying to figure out what is real, it's a different kind of research. And I totally was not the guy to do that job. I felt like it was important. I felt like nobody else would do it. And I knew that the reaction was not going to be good. I knew it was going to be bad. So kind of most of my mistakes and problems came from that though, because like, I didn't know who Sneeko was before I made that video. And I didn't really know who he was when I posted that video. And so while it's like really serious, and I admit that, and I am sorry, I took the video down like immediately because I realized the video had major problems. But like it also at the same time, in retrospect, is a little bit funny that I tried to be like, this guy's the fucking worst. At least, you know, according to Hitler. And like, you know, I fucked it. I fucked it pretty bad. And there's not really a lot else I can say about it. You know, what's done is done. I can't take it back. But also, ultimately, that's like what a whole section of YouTube is about. I may have done that really badly, but like there are channels that just exist just to talk shit about people like all the time. And I don't want to be that guy. I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not trying to escalate the situation. I'm just trying to describe my perspective of how this happened. Because at the end of the day, everything's fine. You know, I fucked up, but also nobody that I mentioned in that video was harmed at all. You know, everybody's doing fine.
No, oh my god. So basically he's saying all the people I slandered turned out to be okay. So it's all good, actually.
And that's kind of like how that genre of YouTube works anyways. The whole drama machine ultimately just exists for money. And I shouldn't have been a part of that. I shouldn't have contributed to that. I felt like there were important points to make. I did not word them well. I had no fucking chill. I could have done pretty much everything in that better, but you live and learn. You know, I don't know what else to say. Other than I will do better, and I kind of want to get into like personal criticisms against myself now. Because I think that's a good segue. So like with that video, there was a lot of comparison to the Dan Olsen video that came out soon after mine and the H Bomber Guy plagiarism video. There was a lot of like comparing the three of us. And I think like the only commonality between those three videos is YouTubers talking about YouTubers, with two of them being good videos and one of them being like a really bad video. But people were ascribing like saying that I was jealous, and that's why I was making that video.
You clearly were. You were jealous.
And I just want to say, I am not a jealous man, and I never have been. I have never made a single video on YouTube to chase trends. I have never made a video because someone made a popular video like that. You know, that is not the kind of guy that I am, and I never will be. I've always made what I think is interesting, what I am compelled to do, what I think is right to do. You know, I can definitely work on my tone with critical pieces, but like I wasn't doing that video as a ripoff of somebody else's style. You know, for better or worse, that video was authentically me. And to prove that, you can go back and watch the video on Encyclopocalypse that I did the previous summer that has like the exact same tone and wording and style and presentation of that bad conservative horror movie video. You know, they're very, very similar. I feel like as far as critically, this was very me. If it came across as being a ripoff of somebody else, that was not the goal. You know, I feel like that came across to some people and not to some people, but that's all I have to say on that. But similarly to the Encyclopocalypse video, I wasn't trying to ruin anybody's life. I wasn't doing this because I wanted a lot of views. In fact, I did know that people were going to hate this. You can go back on my Twitter and like...
I didn't know, but I didn't know people would hate it. Yeah, no shit, bro.
Weeks before I posted it, I said, my next project people are really going to hate. If I said that people are really going to hate this, then that doesn't line up with the narrative of me doing it because I wanted to be popular. You know, with the jealousy thing, like, it feels very strange to me because to my ears, it's like critiquing the president and saying something that you don't like that the president did. And then somebody saying, well, you're just saying that because you want to be president. And like, no, I assure you, I don't want to be the president. Critical pieces can exist on people without them like destroying people. And I actually say that in the bad conservative horror movie video. I said with the John Squire section of that video that I don't want to ruin people's lives because of things that they've said, that I think that we should be forgiving and open to people changing. And if it was just some like dumb thing said like as an 18-year-old, who gives a shit? Everybody said really dumb things when they were a kid, and that shouldn't be held against them. I just saw things that I disagreed with from people that I felt like had a big public platform. Being critical of that doesn't mean that you want their lives to be ruined. You know, I ultimately was making that as an invitation for wanting people to do better. And if the one person who comes out of bad conservative horror movie deciding to do better is me, then that's a good thing. You know, One of the major criticisms of me that came up a lot in that time period was related to citing sources, which I fully upfront admit I can be a lot better at. And starting from now, I will be. The John Waters video, if you go and look at it, has a full works cited in the description. Historically, I do like try and show where I get my information from, but I always tried to do it in a visual way. Historically, you know, I would say like according to Variety, and then I'd throw up a screenshot of the Variety article, you know, and post that so everybody could see the title and where I got it from, but being done in kind of a fun visual way. Clearly, people.
All right, we get it. This dude's a clown. No one accepted his apology. No one cared. You know, 2025, you can't go around slandering people. And again, back to the point earlier, it's just fucking pettiness, man. Pettiness and disingenuousness and lying to your own fans and shit. Like, people see right through that in 2 seconds. So, you know, you can gaslight and manipulate and be petty and do shit for clearly the wrong motives and lie to your own audience, which is the only people who make you who you are your audience. But people see right through it, bro. So it's like, it's never going to work. You're always going to get exposed. And yeah, I don't know. Me over here, Pablo, whether you like me or hate me, you can unsub because you think my jokes aren't funny. You're like, I can't believe he said that. But one thing I won't do is lie to you, because that could never be me, bro. Never. I'll never lie to you. You can hate me for other reasons. But with that being said, I got a toodles. Take care, everybody. I hope you got some laughs out of these. The pontificating. Actually, I don't have time for you peasants right now. Actually, I don't have time for you worthless poor peasants. I have to go. Peace.